On one of the more significant days on the Australian calendar annually, we go racing on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club and pay tribute to the past, present and future servicemen and women of this great country of ours on Anzac Day 2025. The Okayama International Circuit, the venue for our open wheel doubleheader this evening. First up, the GSRC Formula Ford Cup, and then, of course, we get stuck into round two of the Spreyton Ciders Rd-2 Indy series. Good evening, everybody. I wasn't here for the last Friday public holiday 7 days ago, but I can't take them all off, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Caven and Joe Baldwin with you. Welcome to Friday Night Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. We are with you from the Okayama International Circuit for the next 3 hours, a 3-race program for you this evening. We will have updates from Friday night football and the AFL and the NRL as we go as well. All eyes on Melbourne for the Melbourne Storm in the NRL, and of course on Western Australia for Fremantle versus Adelaide in the AFL. But we've got 3 magnificent races here. Sprint racing in Formula Ford for the first of 5 occasions this season. And of course, we have another 65-minute race for the Rd-2 Indy series. Massive fields lining up here last week in both divisions, and let's hope that the Indycar series is as fruitful personnel-wise as what the Formula Ford grid is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And let's hope the Formula Ford's put on one hell of a show on the Okayama short circuit. We'll have a look at that for you in just a moment. First up, the championship standings for the GSRC Formula Ford Cup. After the opening round, John Merritt, the man to beat last week. I'm just having a look to see if Hot Lap is in the server tonight. It would not appear as though he is. Dylan Shepherd, the front-running man here at the moment. Braden Sagassa, he was second on points last week, 55, 49 for Aidan Schweikert. And Sam Chapman, 45, Art Baz, 43, and Adam Lavis on 40 points make up the top 6 this early in the season. And what we're excited about here is that we will have exactly the same format, ladies and gentlemen, as what we have when we go sprint racing in the main course, slots this evening. And that is an invert top 10 for race 2. And all the history shows that this is a tight little cauldron, a tight little bull ring, this track. The Okayama short chute, 1.93 kilometres, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 turns, clockwise the direction. And it's a good thing that the narrowness of the track is complemented by the narrowness of the Formula Ford car. That will allow some good overtaking, some good slipstreaming, some good racecraft to unfold before your very eyes. 15 minutes the journey for race 1, 25 for race 2, invert top 10 for that second race. Beautiful conditions at the Okayama International Circuit as qualifying comes to an end at 3:40 local time. In fact, I might just hold on that, because once we get stuck into the race server, which is right now. Oh no, have a look at this. It's raining, ladies and gentlemen, on Anzac Day 2025. Appropriate, actually, because half the bloody country's copped a drenching today. Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, all waking up to wet weather. Of course, wet weather at the MCG for the Anzac Day clash. Let's have a look at those weather details again, please, Joe. You can see that it's raining on the screen there. That will make tyre selection all the more interesting tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for this first race. 9 o'clock local time. Japan, of course, 1 hour behind Australian Eastern Standard Time at this time of the year. 12 kilometre-an-hour winds in a southerly direction. 20 degrees the ambient, 18 on track. Mostly dry, but it is raining. 3% the chance of rain, but that looks a lot more than 3% to me. Joe Baldwin, good evening to you. Let's have a look at the grid. I'll get your thoughts in just a moment. It's Dylan Shepherd and Ryan Bettis on the front row. Art Baz, Jeff Adams, the second row. Jeff, of course, I did note on his socials this morning, did head out to the Anzac ceremonies and the march in his uniform. So we thank him for his service this morning in Sydney. Rodney Golan and David Baz, the third row. Braden Sagassa, Brett Barker, the fourth row. Doug Gowans and Daniel McCrowan, the fifth row. Phil King, Richard King. Something about the Kings at the moment. They're separated by a coat of varnish. They're on the 6th row. Adam Lavis alongside Dane Snadden. Not Sam Chapman for a change on row 7. Steve Murray and Andrew Dyson from 8. Liam Haycock, Sam Chapman from 9. So it won't take long for Chapman and Lavis to team up again. Dave Oliver and Sam Stride from 10. Derek Fitzgerald and Scott Jordison from 11. Kevin Anderson and Ben Ryder from 12. Seth Brown and Rodolphe Brunetti. Brian Bullock, Nathan Michael, Martin Lipsky, Pete Matson, Julian Mookie make up the field. Lachlan Purvis, Ben Woods, Quinton de Klerk have not joined the grid. So it looks like a 31-car grid lining up for race 1 of 2 tonight. The GSRC Formula Ford Cup in drizzling rain from Okayama. Let's go to work. We will apologise off the top for those of you tuning in at home. The settings for from Benny Woods. He's already accepting defeat on that one. They have stitched him up royally, ladies and gentlemen, and they've stitched up some of these drivers as well. It's drizzling rain, but the track is mostly dry, believe it or not. Looks like most of the field has started on dries. We need to point out as well, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are noticing that things are a little bit patchy, a little bit glitchy tonight, it might be an issue at our end, and there's not much that we can do about that. Joe's having some frame rate issues, and it's been ongoing. Those of you that were tuning in last week will know what we're talking about. We're doing our best to persevere and work through it and fix it all up in due course. Main straight, car in the dirt. That's Ryan Bettis. Yeah, standing on the gas and drifting through the gravel. Good evening, Joe Baldwin.
Good evening, mate. Yeah, so the internet problems, I've spent hours on the phone, people, but what I am doing is recording it live as well. So as soon as the races are over tonight, I will be uploading a fresh update, which won't have any of the glitch right now. So we will get a fresh update, so please bear with us.
All right, very nicely done. And we do look forward to, of course, seeing that replay on the platforms tomorrow morning when we wake up. Oh, actually, it'll be still tonight by the time it's up in Western Australia, let's be honest.
It will.
1 minute 3.060 for Dylan Shepherd, the leader at the moment. Ryan Bettis, Art Baz, Spreyton Sagassa's got by on Brett Barker. Rodney Gollan has been displaced by David Baz. Scott Jordanson, who we were only commenting about off air, actually, as an improver term on term, unfortunately. A Formula Ford likes to do Porsche things early on a Friday night. And you would know what that's all about, too, Joe, after last night, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit too... no, Jimmy, mate, it's my... Yeah, no, Dan, everybody, it's doing the same. Dan Yeaman, he actually spent an hour and a half in here with me the other night trying to get it right, and just, I'm tearing my hair out. I thought I had it fixed, but... yeah, unfortunately not. So there will be. This will go up as a premiere, and yeah, it's about the best that we can do at the moment. As a post-produced. Yep.
It'll be as live when it goes up later in the evening, folks. Yes. But stay with us. We will do our best to push through the issues here. Speaking of issues, actually, it's been fairly clean despite the drizzly, damp conditions in which they've been greeted with for this opening race of round 2 of the campaign. The first of the sprint rounds, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good season. It's a good calendar here for GSRC Formula Ford. Great to see some open wheel junior racing. Formula V, of course, being the other obvious example, or the Skip Barber, back on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It has been too long. And what a nice way to lead into IndyCar, of course, because in the US, USF 2000, which is essentially their equivalent of Formula Ford, is on the IndyCar feeder series, the Road to Indy. So it is our Road to Indy tonight because it leads into that. So that's going to be a lot of fun from the same venue. And it is a traditional support card back to the old days where the entree and the main course played it out, duked it out at the same venue on any given night. So it's a nice return to the days of old as we notch up. We're just past the 5-year mark of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Joe, I can't believe that I've been here that long.
Yeah, no, look, we're still ticking along. We've got some great numbers at the moment, great racing. Now, a lot of fresh faces too lately, which has been great to see. Like we've had a lot of new members come into the club, especially in the last probably 12 months. It's been it's been great growth. So yeah, proud of what we've done in 5 years, and it'll be interesting to see where we are in another 5 years.
Indeed it will be. And now Trenton Naylor just chiming in and saying good evening as well. Very good evening to everybody. What a special day it is for us to pause, reflect, commemorate the Anzacs. Some magnificent services right around the country. I was proud to be part of the coverage from a behind-the-scenes standpoint that West Bromwich Radio put out of the Ipswich Parade this morning, of course. Marches happening in every capital city right around the country. It was a magnificent day, and so good to see that the weather didn't deter the crowds as it would from other events. Anzac Day is one of those days where you just brave the elements because the diggers went through so much worse, as we were reliably reminded this morning. Now, that is Julian Mookie, unfortunately, having a slip and slide. There'll be a bit of that going on tonight, I would suspect. He's on pit road at the moment. He's the only one that's encountered any sort of issues so far, the only one that's made a routine unscheduled pit stop. Now, there's Jeff Adams in fourth place. Geez, he's having a good night of it so far. Fourth in qualifying, remains fourth. A little bit less overtaking than I would have, or maybe would have expected, Joe, especially at the pointy end of town. So it hasn't got that Formula V vibe about it yet. The weather may be a reason for that. I'm not sure, but certainly some movement in the mid-pack and beyond.
Yeah, well, at the moment, and as one of the guys, I think Stefan pointed out there before, there's actually only the one tyre on the Formula Ford, so it's a dual zone tyre, like it's wet and dry.
It's a groove.
Yeah, grooved racing slick. And I think that the conditions like these, no wind, no downforce, so they're quite slippy around here, and it's actually quite a challenging track. Okayama short, like there's really no rest time. Look, these guys are getting into it. Around Seth Murray and Steve Murray and Seth Brown are getting into it.
There was definite wheel-to-wheel contact there. They were lucky to get away with it. 3 wide now. Oh, this has got Formula V vibes all about it. But it is Formula Ford, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see.
This is a racing I know you've been looking for. Oh, Martin Lipsky, he's had an incident.
So Shepherd leads Bettis. That was the incident. Lipsky, yep. Every day of the week. Every day of the week. That tangled inter-wheel collision. How many times do you see it in this category? Ryan Bettis, Charles Dillon Shepherd. Art Baz is third. Jeff Adams and David Baz and Rodney Gollan all over him like a cheap suit. We ride on board with Art Baz now down the main straight to the inside of Ryan Bettis. There's the move for second. Goes down the inside. Can he get it done? No.
No, it might have helped if I'd have been live there or still on the replay screen. Sorry, guys.
Copy. All good. Bettis and Art Baz are still going at it. They've got Jeff Adams and David Baz for company. Rodney Gollan and Braden Sagassa are only a stone's throw away. And all the meanwhile, it is allowing Dylan Shepherd to check out. He is 1.6 seconds to the good. We're at the end of lap 8. We're inside 8 minutes of racing. So there's a strong chance, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to go about 16 laps in this opening race here. And Daniel Yeaman's going to check in with the Premiere as well. There's also IEM Melbourne CS2 quarterfinals live tonight as well. So obviously you've got that dual screen setup going on, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot to watch across various platforms tonight. Of course, the AFL, the NRL on free-to-air and paid television. And of course, we're here on the platforms of the GSRC. So plenty to tune into tonight. You need your 7 Sport Mega Wall set up in your sports bar. And we take this opportunity to remind you that if you are having one tonight, make sure you raise a glass to the servicemen and women of this great country of ours. The lag happened last week for the same street. Yeah, you're right. And we've already explained that. I'm not going to touch that with a barge pole for the rest of the evening if I can help it, because we've already mentioned that in the outset of the broadcast. There will be a replay as soon as we're done here. Joe is recording it as we're live, and then obviously the replay will sort out any gremlins that we are having at the moment. Now, yeah, the NBN, what a disgrace the NBN has ended up turning out to be. I mean, we talk about it all the time, don't we? Here's one for Grant Gill's bingo card, right? I say it all the time. First world country, third world internet. You go to regional areas and it's fourth world. Yeah. Right? There's the first one ticked off your bingo card tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to get too political. It's not the day to be doing it, but there's your first one. Shepherd and Bettis and Baz and Adams and Gollan, and inadvertently you can also tick political reference off your bingo card as well, ladies and gentlemen, because I said I wasn't going to, but I did. Shepherd, Bettis, Baz, Adams, Gollan, Baz, the top 6 at the moment, and that is Art Baz all over the back of Ryan Bettis like a cheap suit at the moment. Down the main straight, 5.5 to go, 6 laps left in this opening heat of the night.
Should we get it done down here at turn 1? He was right underneath the gearbox.
Should do. Does do. But watch Bettis around the outside. He got the run, and sometimes that'll happen in the rain as well. Don't throw it away because you'll have the inside running. Telling gold. Gone. Through goes Jeff Adams to second. Bettis Bettis and Baz are in the dirt.
Oh,
It happened. It was eventually bound to. And now they're just helping one another out of the gravel trap. So intertwined were they, interlocked.
Oh, that was
unbelievable. You can see exactly what they were trying to do, Joe. Ryan Bettis was in the perfect position, the wet weather racing line, the grip goes to the outside. He was trying to hold sway, hang tough, and unfortunately it just didn't work.
And
Bang,
it looks
gone.
like Netcode has actually grabbed him a bit, or the way those wheels are locked in there, they just couldn't get out of it. Look at it, dragging each other around. Finally free.
Fantastic, isn't it? It's like having an invisible tow rope.
Like Art might have had another one after he got going.
I'd say so, and that'll be frustration. I'd say more than anything else.
Oh.
Bang! That's a heavy hit. Gone. He's done.
Watch for him.
Pit lane.
If it dries out for the next one, I think you're going to find he'll put in the drive of the night from the back of the grid, because we all know how fast Art is, and it was confirmed the other day, I believe he's actually Dave Baz's dad, so that's where the family tie comes in.
I was wondering what the link was. Yeah, Richard King off the Rd-2 just quietly, mate, and also Dane Snadden, Sam Chapman, Sam Stride on pit lane, and Julian Wookie is parked up and retired.
Here's what's happened to Richard. Oh, he's grabbed too much curb, has he? Oh, geez, great job to miss by the 170 there.
Did well to not clout that wall. He just bruised it. He just grazed it. Very nicely done. All right. I'm not here next week, folks. We've got local AFL resuming here in Ipswich next Friday night, so I'll be out of the booth for that one. The week after, I'll be here. The week after, I'll be doing the GT Pro Invitational Series. The week after, I'll be back. There's a little bit of ebbing and flowing going on over the next few weeks, but I appreciate the club making arrangements around my outside real life commitments, which occasionally do have a habit, especially on a Friday night, of getting in the way of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Down the main straight we go. Art Baz has rejoined a lap down. Joe, a minute 5 on pit lane will do that to you, especially when it's only 57 seconds a lap around here at the moment.
Yeah, you travel through the pits on a track this short and you're in for a world of pain.
Especially in a race like this, where there is no scheduled routine pit stop. That'll only be in the feature race, of course, which is coming up over 25 minutes in a few moments' time. 2.25 minutes to go. Dylan Shepard's gone. 4.3 to the good. And all that squabbling that took out the second and third runners has been a solid contributor to that margin ballooning out. It was less than 2 seconds before they'd come together. Art Baz and, of course, the other one was... name escapes me, my apologies.
Together, Derek Fitzgerald. Oh, no.
Oh,
who was he tangled?
yeah.
Couple more there that were tangled together.
Ryan Bettis, of course, was the one that I was looking for. Sorry, Joe.
Right. I'll tell you what, up the front here, have a look at Jeffrey Adams. Like, this guy, he's been with the club now for a number of years. I think almost from our inception. It'd be at least 4 years he's been around, but his improvement over the course of the last 12 months. Now, Jeff's joined us on Saturday nights a lot with the Mountain Men, where I've probably seen him the most. In the background there.
Yep, in the grass goes David Baz. So both the Bazes have dropped out of the top 5 as a result of incidents, and that one was all his own work, unfortunately, it would seem. But yeah, of course, Jeff was saying this morning his first Anzac Day march in Sydney, and he went there with Mum leading the way, and well done to Jeff for sharing that on socials this morning, because I knew as soon as I saw him on the grid tonight, I knew it had to be mentioned. And anyone else from the GSRC, family, if you've been involved in Anzac Day commemorations, please feel free to let us know so that we can tip our hat to you as well. Lap 16, Joe. White flag should be in the air. Dylan Shepard should be on the way home. And that's if Barney's turned up and has bothered to do his job tonight. I know not everybody signs up for public holiday if, overtime rates and other things aren't available to them. Brett Barker off the road just quietly right now.
Yeah,
as we make our way around.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dylan Shepard's going to get the job done.
My camera pack tonight actually, unfortunately, hasn't quite been updated, but here we go. He's coming through the to the line.
Main straight, checkered flag. Dylan Shepard joins the winners list in GSRC Formula Ford. So synonymous with Porsches and occasionally an outing in GT3. He's got the job done in the open wheelers as well. Jeff Adams holds off Rodney Gollan in a photo for second. Braden Sagasa fourth, and then Daniel McCrowan up 5 spots for fifth. Adam Lavis, Andrew Dyson, David Baz, Phil King, Doug Gowans from Super Formula Light Circles. He will have the invert pole position for race number 2. And Ryan Bettis, a disappointing 11th, a case of what might have been. Wowee. I wonder if it's going to dry up, Joe. That's my only concern now, because it looked as though it only got a little bit, gradually a little bit damper as that race played out. Certainly not torrential soaking wet like we've seen in the past when the Tempest weather system has been put to good use, but certainly challenging enough for some of these drivers.
Yeah, look, whoa! Oh, that's not the way to do it, Derek. Oh, there you go. There's a little bit of...
At least he's already crossed the finish line, at least.
Yeah, it was at the Holden Elite Driving School that back in the day they used to turn up at Bathurst. He's shooting for a job with them guys, by the look of him.
Right, that's it.
Their results. Dylan Shepard first to the good by nearly 5 seconds over Jeff Adams, who's put in a stonking drive to finish second.
Actually, Joe, history made last night. I had one of my housemates come down today and say, I just wanted to let you know you were very loud last night, but it had nothing to do with the GSRC broadcast. It was when I took a phone call after the fact. I said I find that extraordinarily hard to believe because I'm a very quiet person when I'm not commentating, apparently. More trouble. So Dylan Shepard now caught up. So look at the logjam, the traffic that has arrived on pit lane. Dylan Shepard has joined Martin Lipsky. Lipsky was stationary for 36 seconds. Rodney Gollan and Andrew Dyson have jumped in as well. So carnage aplenty. We expected it. That's what happens when we invert the top 10. It's a recipe for drama, a recipe for carnage, a recipe for chaos, and it hasn't disappointed. Adam Lavis, a good start in the top 5. Exactly where he started. So he finished 6th in the opening race, and he's just sitting in there, biding his time, waiting for his moment, letting all the garbage unfold around him. And Seth Brown comes to pit lane. So is that strategic from Brown to get out of the traffic, get some clear air? We'll wait and see. 26, maybe 27 laps ahead of us here. In the dry conditions, we're slightly faster than what we were in the wet. That may also be a determining factor. Remember that if we're doing 55s, it's going to take us 12 laps to overturn the minute there. So you get 5 seconds back every minute. So that's 12. That's 13 laps in 12 minutes. There's 26. And then the pit lane transit, maybe 27 coming ahead in this race. And that is Nathan Michael in the Whiskey Business Racing Formula Ford, exiting stage right at the end of the back straight. Hard to know where to look at the moment, Joe. There's plenty happening.
It is, yeah. It's certainly...
Look at this. That was giving off IndyCar vibes, going left and right and weaving down the main straight.
You certainly took the words out of my mouth, and I was like, they've been watching the Indy practice. I tell you what, Kyle Larson took a big lick into the wall, actually, about 24 hours ago now. But he's not the only one who's got the wall this week, so obviously it's the start of the... We're not quite into May yet. We're not quite into May, but they've started early. So, definitely all eyes on Indianapolis at the moment. These guys have been watching that, and here they are. Dan McCrowan and Dave Baz, looks like they might have had an incident.
Yep.
That's Baz behind
McCrowan.
I reckon McCrowan might have spun and let Baz know where to go.
Absolutely nowhere to go. And look at everybody try and take the evasive action around the outside, and they did just that, and they did it effectively.
Yeah, so that's going to be frustrating for Baz. He's very handy actually in cars like this. This style car tends to suit him pretty well, and yeah, so he'll be frustrated there to be at the back end of the top 10. And speaking of Baz, there's only 2 positions behind him now. There's Art Baz, so he's up 13 spots from where he started. I told you he'd be a big mover in this race.
Absolutely. Down the inside. Gowans, Lavis, King, Bettis, and then Adams and Sagasa. Bettis to third, down the inside. Got him. Job done on Phil King. Next target, Adam Lavis, is up 3 spots as a result of incidents and pit lane transits and everything else that's going on. He's had a very quiet race, all things considered. But Gowans holding sway and standing firm at the front of the field at the moment. Anzac Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, a very special Friday night edition. In fact, in the history of the GSRC, Joe, I can say this comfortably. There's Pete Matson, unfortunately, slipping and sliding through turn 1. Not on water, as was the case in race 1. What I was going to say, what I was going to say was the interesting thing for mine. Trouble. Stride, Fitzgerald, Chapman, all gone. Stride, Fitzgerald, Chapman, all gone. Turn 1. So something untoward has happened there. We'll find a replay. We'll get that to you in a moment. I can say this very comfortably, Joe. We have had Anzac Night Motorsport before, but never on a Friday night on the platforms of the GSRC, because the first year of the club, 2020, Anzac Day was a Saturday morning.
Oh, big dive up the inside
there. Back to the night.
Under the grass.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And evasive action had to be taken by Chapo. He didn't want a piece of that, so he sacrificed himself.
Yeah, so that was triggered by Derek getting up inside, being left no room, and yeah, that was ensuring calamity. But very close up the front here. Look at these guys, they're going at it. So Doug Gowans has got his hands full right now. Ryan Betts gets up the inside. Doug bites around the outside. Back up the inside again. Great track, this one.
Andrew Neal, thank you. It is good to be back. I was back on Monday. I was back last night, but obviously it is still good to be back on a Friday night as well. And let's go whoever is there from WBR. Well, that's a fair point as well. Nathan Michael, your best bet at the moment, down in 13th position. This battle is on. Ryan Bettis all over the back of Doug Gowans like a cheap suit. Look at them lining up for a crack. Now it's got a Formula V feel about it. The Formula Ford's putting on a great show here at the Okayama International Circuit. Initiating the challenge to Indycar, saying, top this. Gowans, Bettis, Lavis, Ben Adams, King, Sagasa, King, Oliver, Baz, and Murray, the top 10. 11, I should say, at the moment. Liam Haycock is 12.
A lot of different lines the guys are using there. Such a limited horsepower car, this one. Hanging on the outside isn't as big a disadvantage as the other cars, because you can keep the momentum up, so you enter the next straight with a little bit more speed. So that turn 1-2 section there, if you get it right, it can be advantageous around the outside. We've seen a couple of guys make that move tonight. Agasar and King, these guys are hanging it out side by side. Agasar wide, just touches the grass, hangs onto it. Well, not much grass to be out there, to be honest. So I think the Japanese fires on the outside of the track, like they had at Suzuka there a couple of weeks ago in practice. Oh, look at this.
Oh, wasn't that ridiculous? And then we got the most boring and processional Japanese Grand Prix in the history of Japanese Grand Prix at the end of the weekend. But at least, and when we talk about Formula One at the moment, we're talking about Oscar Piastri being on top of the World Championship points table after 5 of 24 rounds. They're off to Miami next weekend. We're getting asked a question by Josh Zuno, what happened to Seth? Yeah, that's a very good question. I didn't. It looks like packet loss. It looks like packet loss. I'm going to wager packet loss, because 4.14 laps is not, you know, to the best of my recollection, that's not a pit lane transit. That's beyond pit lane. So it looks like packet loss for Brown. Let's have a look at this. This is Ben Ryder on the run to turn 1. And, yeah, flipping and sliding through.
Snowden's had an incident.
The second of the Whiskey Business entries. There might actually be, I was going to say, there are a couple of different liveries out there tonight. Adam Lavis think his feelings been known about that one earlier in the piece, Joe. And I get the feeling that a few of these guys might actually be opting to run special liveries and tributes for Anzac Day, and good on them for doing so, I say. Jeff Adams in 4th place at the moment, hassling the top 3 here, all over him like a cheap suit. Adam Lavis, the aforementioned, and then, of course, Doug Gowans and Ryan Bettison. Gowans goes back to the lead. Andrew Neal asking if you paid your internet bill. I've already answered that question, Andrew. We'll come back to that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Seth Brown. Okay, watch this on the run to turn 1 and watch the packet loss. Watch. He slides into the wall, he slams in, and he gets stuck in the wall.
He's been caught, yeah. That's what happened.
And he's gone. So, yep.
No,
but 4.14. Normally, if you get caught there, you have to toe to the pit lane to hit the retirement, hit the eject button, don't you? To hit the disconnect.
You do pretty much. I know I do.
So it's a strange one.
Just Alt F4. That fixes all problems.
But yep.
I wish Alt F4 would fix my my broadcasting issue. But like I say, I recorded on board, people, so the upload will be perfect quality, I assure you. These guys are putting on a good show up the front here. Even though Ryan's got by Doug Gowans, he hasn't pulled away. Adam Maverick's there, hanging tough in 3rd at the moment. He's only 3/10 back from Doug. You don't even need to know the numbers. You can see it there visually on your screen, people. So Jeff Adams, he's pulled up, so he finished 2nd in race 1. So he's up 5 positions. Ryan Betts, he won race 1, and he's now back up to the lead. So he's up 10 spots. So he's having a great night at the office. Currently, I think the way we're looking at the moment, that'll probably put Ryan outright. Jeff Adams should be 2nd on points, judging by this. Who probably 3rd would be Braden Sagassa at the moment. So it looks like he might have finished, I think, 4th in race 1, 5th in race 1. And yeah, so and he's currently 5th at the moment. Yeah, it's a my end problem, Andrew. I'm not too sure what actually causes it, but it's all right. It won't be on the upload anyway. We're at the 12-minute mark, so we've got another nearly halfway, actually, by about another 20 seconds to halfway around this lap will be the halfway mark of the race on lap 14. So we're probably going to get
27, I reckon, once you include the transit of the line. Yeah. 27's a fair sort of bet, because if we're going to maintain that pace of the 55-second bracket on average, then that's 13 laps in 12 minutes. 13 gets you 26 in 24, plus the transit of the lane and the 27th lap. That's the best mathematics I can do for you with regards to that one, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise, because mathematics, as I've said so many times before, is not my strong suit. Right, Ryan Bettis, Doug Gowans, Adam Lavis, Jeff Adams, and if you believe that, you're clearly a newbie to the platforms of the GSRC as well, just Quali. 54.705 for David Baz, the fastest lap of the race. You can try and sell them a dummy, but most people see straight through it, Joe. David Baz down 4 spots. Art Baz up 17 at the moment, one of the biggest movers in the field.
Yeah, actually, Art Baz and Dave Oliver are both up 17 spots each at the moment. So these guys have followed each other through the pack. Yeah. So, and just on that point, everybody ducks and weaves. You've been around long enough, Zach. 5 years. We all know what you like. Your Zaculator's always on point.
I've had 1 or 2 off moments in 5 years, but I can be forgiven. I am human after all. Bettis and Gowans going for it. Come off! Braden Sagassa!
Okay, that was a weird one. I'm guessing
Wowee!
that was a hardware failure of some stage. Of some.
What the hell was that? Jesus.
Hardware failure has to be.
Has to be. You're right. It has to be.
That's so unfortunate. Just the wheel just locked down hard left. So yeah, that's terrible for him. He was having a great night. We're only saying just a minute ago about his tonight. So here he is limping back to the pits. He should still finish, but it's certainly going to hurt him overall in the points. So a good strong top 5 is probably out of reach now for him, unfortunately. So yeah, right luck by Braden. That looked like a wheelbase failure. It just went to full hard left.
Indeed it did. How good's this battle? Doug Gowans, Adam Lavis and Jeff Adams, but the problem for them is that Ryan Bettis has just bolted 54.648. He's the fastest lap of the race, is the leader by 2.23 seconds. My goodness. Now, earlier this evening too, folks, NRL around the grounds, New Zealand Warriors 26 have defeated the Newcastle Knights 12, as the other two matches, Melbourne and the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and of course, Fremantle and Adelaide in the AFL are about to get underway. Lavis passes Gowans. Oh, that's why. Gowans.
Off track.
Doug Gowans off the track, and look at Jeff Adams down the inside of Adam Lavis. Jeff Adams is back to where he finished the first race. What a dream run for him on Anzac Day. These big occasions, Joe, they bring out the best in some of our drivers.
They certainly do, and Jeff stood tall, and look, I've said it a few times lately, like he is sitting up in the seat, week on week now. It doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing, he always seems to be up there. So Doug's, a little bit of contact there with Mav and Doug, so that was, unfortunate. Wasn't a lot in it. Looks like the rear might have just got loose for Mav as he went in there. We jump on Adam. Yeah, rear's just got out and just made the contact. Our old mate Kevin Henderson, he used to run up front in these cars. We haven't seen much of Hendo lately, which is unfortunate. He won't be happy with that one.
Straight from the track to the commentary box, Spreyton Sagasa. What happened there, please?
Well, wheel disconnected. That's all I can say.
Yep, Joe said it, nailed it. Hardware failure. Oh, geez, how frustrating is that, mate? You looked as though you were on for a good result there.
Yeah, it's really frustrating when it happens. I could feel it happening. The force feedback just went kaput, and it just went stage left.
Yeah, we got Dad and Dave. Oh God, I need a Tish Boom. Sorry, people.
I like it. Well done. Well done.
God, the dad jokes are out too early on a Friday night. Sorry, people.
No, not at all. We often talk about Friday night being the night where it gets a little bit silly in this booth, Joe.
It does.
So you're welcome to bring your humour any day of the week. Righto. Now, have a look at this. Adam Lavis back down the inside. Sorry, Art Baz trying to get down the inside, I should say. Richard King and Doug side. That was slick. Well polished. Good stuff. Art Baz up 20 spots into fifth. But what we can tell you is, as we get to the end of lap 19, start lap 20, everyone down to Pete Matson, top 20, yet 2 stops. So whether they can get home on fuel or whether they've got a splash and dash, we'll wait and see.
I'd imagine everyone's going to have to pit. I can't see that there'd be enough fuel unless you've saved from the drop of the green. How were the fuel numbers looking, Braden? You were one of the ones out on track. You would have had an idea of your fuel numbers. Did you have to stop to get home or not?
By the looks of it, no. I didn't get told to pit. I still had about 15 laps of fuel when I disconnected.
Okay, so maybe, Joe, maybe then there's a chance that we sneak in a 28th lap. Right, let me just have a look at the calculations here. Let me have a look, because we're coming back to the line now. We're 6.5 minutes from home. Bettis has just started that 21st lap. And we've got, I tell you what, no, I think we're okay. I think we're okay with 7. But it is going to be 6 minutes and 25. It's going to be touch and go. It's going to be bloody touch and go. So if we get a 28, it's by the skin of our teeth. Just to put it in there for you, ladies and gentlemen. 6 minutes on the clock now. When they get back to the line, we're looking at, 5.5 minutes for 6 laps. So keep an eye on that clock. Keep an eye on Ryan Bettis. He's the benchmark at the moment. He's the man that everybody's got to catch. They won't. He's out by 4 seconds. The only thing that trips him up is a mistake of his own doing here at this point in time, or a hardware failure. Sorry, I don't mean to touch on a sensitive subject, Braden, but yeah, it's the truth of the matter. As they come across the line now, Badass has gone through. Oh, bang. See what I mean? See what I mean? It's about 5:31. 5:31 on the clock when he got across the line, which is the difference between either getting the white flag at the start of lap 27 or sneaking an extra one in. So if we had a pit stop, we wouldn't have this issue. It would be a straight 27. Bob's your uncle. Zach's calculator spot on. But again, I never get it right. I never get it right in the small second margins. So keep an eye on that. 3 wide on the run to turn 2. Not going to work. And Steve Murray, the loser in all of that, drops to 13th. Haycock and Chapman through to 12th and 11th, respectively. Chapo on the charge, up 18 spots. But now it's just been displaced by Liam Haycock again. 3 wide down the back straight. Murray, no, opts out of it. Chapman around the outside. Haycock will have the outside running for turn 6. Chapman back down the inside. That's not going to work. Haycock's going to shut the door. Brayden, I mean, obviously, we would have much preferred to be talking about your performance after the race, mate. But how have you been keeping? What's been keeping you busy? Are you sticking around for Indycar or not?
I could potentially stay around for Indycar. You know, I've got nothing on. Yeah, just been working night shift. I'm hoping to get a day shift job so I can do more of this stuff, because this is a hell of a lot of fun.
A lot more fun than doing night shift, isn't it?
You're telling me.
Done many years of night shift myself, mate, so I'm with you on that one. Bugger the night shift.
Yep, I got a few choice words for night shift, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
At least before 9 p.m. anyway.
Right.
Got a bit of a
I gotta say that.
So Richard King,
Ryan is
Art Baz.
Jesus, have a look at this. How good. Art Baz down the inside. Baz up 18 spots. Dave Oliver up 20 and Richard King up 14 and Oliver around the outside. Richard King's going to cover him off. Baz trying to get down on the inside. Have a look at this.
Oh, touchy.
Oh, there goes your net code. There goes
Oliver.
Yep. Yep. And that'll work out beautifully for Richard King and maybe Art Baz as well down the inside. That was triggered by the slowdown, ladies and gentlemen. Triggered by the slowdown. Badass will come back to the line to complete lap 24 this time by. And we are touch and go still as to whether we get a 28th lap in here or whether it's just going to be 27. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, still touch and go. I reckon 2 3/4. I reckon they're okay. But if he keeps punching out 54s, he might just get back to the line with 2 seconds to go. That's the fine margins we're talking about here. Do not be surprised if we get a 28th lap, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone through the motions. I've said 27 with a stop. It's either 27 or 28 without. It is a stone's throw either way. iRacing could take 2 seconds of race time away from us, or they could give us an extra 50 seconds. It's very much up to them. The ball's in their court at the moment. We don't have any control over that. Ryan Bettis, Jeff Adams, Adam Lavis, David Baz, Richard King, but by G, Joe, I'm going to be annoyed if it's only a 2 second difference.
Yeah, definitely.
And what I was talking about, because how often do we have this format and we see stops in the second race, compulsory pit stops? It's very rare that we don't have that.
That's right, but I mean, with the Formula Ford, they're not really a car that's known in the real world racing to be having pit stops during a race, you know, especially one as short as this. It's only 25 minutes, but that's
right. Hang on a moment. Oliver up the outside. Still can't get by King. Baz now up 20 spots. Over and under will work beautifully for him on the inside. Dave Oliver's now up 20 as well. Baz and Oliver going punch for punch, but Baz will be on track for most positions gained as he is higher up the order at the moment. And off goes Liam Haycock. Oh, hairy stuff, sketchy stuff. Brayden, stay with me. I'm coming back to you. I know we didn't get a chance to finish your point. Want to touch base with you and get your thoughts on Formula Ford more broadly with regards to next week as well. In the meantime, let's have a look at this. Ryan Bettis, did he get the white flag? Did we see the white flag? Let's go back to an open shot of the main straight if we can, Joe. Let's see. I've got nothing on the totem pole. Yes, there is a white flag. 20.
There is a white flag.
27. Yes, called it. Called it. Beautiful. I'm happy with that. But you watch the race time. You watch the race time. It'll be like 24 minutes and 59 seconds, and we'll say to iRacing, "Hey, where's our extra second?"
Absolutely.
Ryan Bettis, it's half a lap from home. We're greedy bastards, aren't we? Half a lap from home is Ryan Bettis at the moment. Jeff Adams 4 seconds down the road, fending off Adam Lavis, David Baz, Art Baz, Dave Oliver, Richard King, the top 7. Doug Gowans, Phil King, Nathan Michael, the top 10. Sam Chapman, Derek Fitzgerald, Sam Stride, Brian Bullock and Liam Haycock, the top 15. But it's Ryan Bettis who's going to join the winners list. 3 races, 3 different winners in GSRC Formula Ford, and he's done it from 11th on the grid. Ryan Bettis gets the job done at Okayama. Nicely done. Jeff Adams holds off Adam Lavis, a double second for Jeff Adams. How about that? That will be, I reckon, round honours for him. Adam Lavis, David Baz, Art Baz, and Dave Oliver, the top 6. Richard King, Doug Gowans, Phil King, Nathan Michael, then Sam Chapman, Derek Fitzgerald and Sam Stride, Brian Bullock and Liam Haycock made up the top 15. Top plus 20 for Baz and Oliver, plus 12 for Richard King, plus 18 for Chapman, 17 for Stride, and 15 for Fitzgerald. By gee, there was some moving and shaking and wheeling and dealing done in that 25 minutes, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Like and you see the difference between the 2 races, with the dry in race 1 and the wet weather in race 1. And we thought that might have opened it up for a pretty wild race, but it just wasn't to be. It was, and I mean, we got Spreyton here. Looked like you were probably tiptoeing around a lot in race 1 compared to what was available grip-wise in race 2 there. Race 1 was nowhere near as spectacular as race 2.
Yeah, that's right. I was expecting a bit more drama, but I think everyone was just trying to keep their cool and not make any mistakes.
Indeed, there it is.
Doing really well, so it was good to see him back tonight. Unfortunately, a bit of downfall with his wheelbase disconnecting. Hopefully he doesn't have the same problem in the car race like my issues I'm having with broadcasting at the moment. But yet again, I am saving, and I can see my I'm in megabytes, not kilobytes for that one, so that'll be nice and clean. But one thing that we'll have a look at is our schedule coming up. So next week we'll have, you're not here with us next week, is that correct?
No, I'm out at the Ivan Marston Memorial Sporting Complex next Friday night, Joe, for AFL Queensland Division 3 South competition action, which will be just, riveting. But yes, local radio commitments to drag me away next Friday night. I'll be back with you for Osher Southern, though, and then, of course, Alton Park, Fosters, and Lime Rock Park. Away for Oran Park, and I am disappointed about that.
Oh, me too. I love Oran Park.
Actually, I'm not sure whether it's Alton or Lime Rock that I missed due to the AFL as well, but I know there's one in there that I do miss. Oran, it's Oran that I'm away for, and then I'll definitely be here for Brands Hatch, though. So I think it's 6 out of the 10 that I'm here for, given that one has already been missed, and round 3 and round 5 are 2 more. There's 1 more in that back half of the run. I'm just not sure which one. I think it's Oran. So I think that means that 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10 I'm here for, which means 3, 5, and 8 I'm not.
Yeah, nice. So we'll keep that one in the memory banks. Now, one thing that we do have to cover off: Mountain Men Saturday nights. We're doing a little bit different, as some of the people will know. I've actually fixed my wheel from last week. This one here, so it actually didn't show up. But what we do have is the Porsche 991 Cup car, Skip Barber, Audi GTO, Mustang FR500, and the Formula 4 is on the wheel. So you give me the word, Zach, we'll spin it, and then we'll know what we're running Mountain Men tomorrow night.
Righto, mate. Let's spin the wheel. Let's go. Hit the gas. Get going.
Here we go.
Mountain Men tomorrow night. Mount Panorama Bathurst. Oh, hey, Skip Barber. No. Porsche Cup 991. There we go. Look at that. You were on for the Skip Barber. You would have been all for that.
I was looking for the handbrake for the wheel, mate. I love the Skippy, but... it'll be just my luck that there much I love that car. So the Porsche 991, tomorrow night's car of choice. The winner from tomorrow night will get to choose which one goes up on the wheel. He didn't get back to us. Him not being here tonight, I think it's probably got something to do with that. He's probably got some real world commitments that kept him away from his PC. So that's where we're at with that one at the moment. But yeah, so 991 on the mountain tomorrow night.
Indeed, very nicely done, Joe. Very nicely done. So we can fill in the TBA there. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. It'll be the Porsche Cup 991 car from Mount Panorama over 32 laps, and looking forward to that immensely. There's the schedule for everything else that's coming up. I'll run through that in more detail once we wrap up the broadcast after the Indycar, of course. But Monday night motorsport will be GT4 and GT3 night with thanks to Waste Options. Waste Options GT night, the last one of April. Knock Hill, the venue for GT4. Watkins Glen Boot for GT3, and it's the first of the sprint rounds. And we'll make another change there for you, folks. It's the first of the sprint rounds, so therefore we're bringing you the AM race first up, the Pro Am race second up, and results from Pro at the end of the broadcast.
My bad.
Let's take a break at this point. Let's catch our breath. There's the schedule for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Remembering that we've got a doubleheader on a Friday night nowadays, folks. WeatherTech Raceway and Auto Club, the agenda for next week. So again, a West Coast swing through the United States. We had a very United States heavy schedule at the top of this week. So we go to the United States again next week, and looking forward to that. Thursday night will be a perler with Spreyton Ciders Super Formula Light from Suzuka and the Porsche Cup from Circuit to Spa-Frager Shops. Hopefully we're back with you on Wednesdays as well with Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the Arcas and the Barber Motorsport Park venue. It always throws up a beauty. We'll take the supercars there, and we're looking forward to that. And we're very excited about what's coming up on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club for week 3 of term 2. Hope you can join us for all of that, but we're not done yet on a Friday night. The entree is done, but the main course is still ahead of us. We're looking forward to being with you on the other side of this break when we return to Okayama, but we go to the full circuit for round 2 of the Rd-2 Indy series. This is Friday Night Motorsport, Anzac Day Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Pictures coming in from the Okayama circuit shortly. We'll jump back on air as we edge closer to 8:45 and race start for the IndyCar, and we look forward to having you with us on the platforms of the GSRC for the balance of the evening for all of that. The racing has been red hot so far this season. Some great racing there tonight in the Formula Fords. Hopefully, Indy. The platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen. We zero in on Okayama's international circuit in Japan once more. The second leg of the doubleheader. But this time we move from the short shoot to the full circuit here at a venue that 30 years ago this week last hosted this month, I should say, 30 years ago, last hosted Formula One, the Pacific Grand Prix of 1995, the Japanese venue. In fact, it was 1994, I should say, that they had the April event. It was October 1995. But still, 30 years ago this year was the last time that we saw Formula One race at this venue. So seldom has been its appearances on the international stage since then, but it lives on the legacy of it through the likes of iRacing and round 2 of the Spreyton Cider Rd-2 Indy series here on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club on our most sacred day on the Australian calendar. Of course, 110 years we're marking today since the landing at Gallipoli in the middle of World War One, and we tip our hat at this point in time, as we did at the top of the broadcast, to all the servicemen and women, past, present, and future, for what they do for the country, because it is the stuff of heroes and legends. There's no doubt about that. It is the ultimate sacrifice. Now, let's go around the grounds for you. The NRL is underway tonight. Melbourne up against South Sydney. Quarter time in the AFL, Freo 6-2-38 lead Adelaide 2-1-13. I'm always happy to see Adelaide on the receiving end of a belting for reasons that I won't go into on the platforms of the GSRC. Melbourne and South Sydney, half time there at Amy Park. And I can tell you that the Bunnies have the advantage, 10 points to 6. Now, that's hardly surprising, and I apologise. It's only 32 minutes and 50 into the game, so a little bit of a late start there. Not half-time yet, but still South Sydney holding sway 10-6. Then again, Melbourne are on a slippery slope at the moment. I'm rather happy that I've got something to distract myself from them being given a hiding by South Sydney because of how pathetic it was sitting here watching them lose to the Dolphins last week in such drastic fashion. But anyway, less said about me, the better. This is Indycar. This is round 2. This is how the championship looks for you, ladies and gentlemen, after round 1. And Marcus Watson on top of the timesheets and the points table at the moment with his win last week after qualifying second on the grid and 66 points leads. Sam Sutton 55, Tyson Broad 48. Eli Donaldson, 44. Reece Dickerson, 43. Adam Lavis, 42. Lachlan Burke, 39. 36 for Lachlan Olsen. 34 for Lockhart Brownlee. And 33 for Jackson Rayhana. Now, I want you to have a look. Can we put the totem pole up, the leaderboard up, Joe, at this point in time? There is not enough room on our totem pole on the left-hand side of your screen that you'll see right throughout the course of the race, ladies and gentlemen, to accommodate the amount of cars on the grid tonight. There are no less than, I repeat, 45 cars in this server at the moment. 45. That'd have to be, Joe, a record. That would have to be a record, right, for GSRC IndyCar. I can't recall a field that big in the entire time that we've run IndyCar over 5 years.
Even when we were running at the Indianapolis for grand finals and stuff, I don't think we've had 45 cars. So, yeah, it's unprecedented.
This is insane.
I've got to say, I was a little bit sceptical being at Okayama, but my God, it's pulled the guys out of the woodworks. And look, quite possibly today being the public holiday may have something to do with it. A lot of people are home.
That's true.
There's not much out there to do on a day like today, to be honest.
That's right.
Yeah, with all due respect, I went to dawn service myself this morning with my wife and my kids, so it's certainly worth remembering and doing your part. So my part is just going and showing respect, but the guys have shown up tonight in droves, 45 guys, just absolute nuts. So it's certainly going to be a race that's worth keeping an eye on tonight, people. Yeah. And here's your grid.
Now,
wow.
Right. Okay, circuit conditions firstly. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 27 km/h winds in a southerly direction, 23 degrees the ambient, 38% humidity, 31 degrees on track, cloudy conditions and dry at the moment. No percent chance of rain at this stage, but then again, you saw what happened with the Formula 4, didn't you? That is the circuit. It's 3.65 kilometres, 31 degrees the temperature. Yes, the full course of the Okayama International Circuit, formerly known as Circuit AIDA once upon a time, in Japan. Now, let's have a look at this grid. Lachlan Olsen on the front row alongside Kane Ryder. Regular prominent front runner when we go open wheel racing. Chris Noble alongside Art Baz on the second row, who's fast cemented himself as a name to watch, hasn't he? The last couple of nights he's been towards the pointy end of the field here. And that applies to the Porsches as well as the Super Formula Light, the Formula Ford, and now the Indycar as well. Tom Donoghue and Andrew Dyson from 3, Sam Sutton and Marcus Watson from 4, Daniel McCrowan and Daniel Edmonds from 5, Vaughan Ryder and Dylan Shepard from 6, Jeff Adams and Lockhart Brownlee from 7, Jackson Rayhana and Sam Stride from 8, Bobby Camo and Jackson Dial from 9. And then just look at how stacked with talent this field is. Like, you're just seeing names down the bottom end that you wouldn't normally associate with that end of the stick. Eli Donaldson, Tyson Broad from row 10. 11 is Cameron Dance and Angus Cook. 12, Adam Lavis and Nick Fodiatis. So good to see him having a run. Nathan Michael, Jake Edwards. He hasn't even had the, he hasn't even had the time to come in and say hello to us yet, the great man. So it'll be good to see him out there having a run and jumping in for a chat after the race. Nathan Michael, Jake Edwards from 13. John Trott, David Baz from 14. Liam Haycock, Dave Oliver from 15. Marcus Hankey and Brad Hudson from 16. From 17, Matt Schmidtke and Sam Chapman from 18. It is Siobhan McKernan from and alongside is Julian Mookie, Scott Jordison and Martin Davis and Pete Matson and Phil Otto. Lee Partridge, Craig Watson, Ryan Bettis and Seth Brown. Watson and Brown not starting, nor Daniel Piper. So we're down to 42 already. Cars have lined up along the back straight. 21 rows deep, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be bedlam because, as we saw earlier, Joe, right? It's a tight enough racetrack for it's an all right circuit for the Formula Fords to go and overtake and run 2x2 on. But the IndyCars, there's going to be parts of this circuit where it's just single line groove, one line running.
Oh, look, this is insane. Like, I don't want to be out there. 45 cars on a track like this? Nah, not for me.
You and I have the best seat in the house, mate. There's no doubt about that.
I've said it a couple of times. I think it's probably a lot safer in the booth than having thumbs locked in the steering wheels with this many cars on track at the moment. But it's certainly going to make for a mega race. And remember, they're racing for a top 10. So the top 10, look, we've got a lot of very fast characters that are in here at the moment. So, okay, that's weird. Got a reverse grid.
No, we don't. No, we don't. What's happened is your SDK timing's had a little glitch. So Lachlan Olsen, Kane Ryder, Chris Noble, Art Baz, Tom Donoghue, Andrew Dyson, Marcus Watson, etc. are reading a little bit later in the order. It's reading as though Schmidtke, Chapman, McKernan, etc. have completed a lap already. That's not true. That'll correct itself shortly. Racing in Japan. Leg 2 of the Friday night doubleheader, race 3 of the program. Trouble at the back already. And trouble at the front. We didn't even get to the start. Oh, there's carnage. There's cars everywhere. At turn 1, have a look at the carnage. Now, normally Nick doesn't like to throw the caution straight away, but I reckon there's justification to do just that tonight. Have a look at this. Have a look at all this garbage that's unfolded. On the run to turn 1, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't even get to the start-finish line for some of our competitors, but have a look at this. Oh boy.
There were crashes even before the green.
That's Rockhart Brownlee down 13 and 19 respectively, 32nd, 33rd. Third, I should say. Jeez. Speak properly, Zach. Speak English. Lachlan Olsen down 34 spots. Jeff Adams down 23. Chris Noble down 34. Bobby Camo down 23. Kane Ryder down 40 spots and already out of the race. He's the first retirement. Jake Edwards is the second. And Bobby Camo the third. Lap 1, lap 2, lap 3 respectively. 3 retirements already. Lee Partridge, I reckon, is about to join him because he's in pit lane for his second stop from the Melbourne Performance Centre. Who else? No, Scott Jordison, Chris Noble both back out there, and Jeff Adams as well. But boy, gee, some carnage on the opening lap, and you had to see it coming with 42 cars on this circuit. Brings the old debate of track density into question, but what a sight it was nonetheless.
Yeah, look, I think maybe that's why SDK had such a heart attack. It wasn't expecting 45 cars to be on track here in one go. Yeah, it's...
Mate, if we can get a field like that for Indianapolis later in the season or Auto Club next week, by gee, we're going to have some fun.
Auto Club with a field like this would be mental fun. We ran the R Series there for round 1, and that was an incredible race. We had a lot of cars, but the track's just fantastic. Great venue.
Indeed it is. Rightio. Round they come. Onto the main straight. That is the end of lap number 5. We're going 45 or 65 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, whichever comes first. Lap time's in the 1 minute 15s at the moment. So that works out nicely, you know. 1 minute 15 goes evenly into 5 minutes 4 times. And you go, what have we got? So 11 fours are 44 and 11 fives are 55. So we've got 10 minutes of carryover time there to allow for things like pit stops and the competition caution. There should be no drama in achieving. Jake Edwards in the wall. That was what happened to him. That explains his early departure. But yeah, based on those calculations, those numbers, we have good carryover time to ensure that with the competition caution and the 3 or 4 pit stops that follow, that we will get the full 45 lap race distance in, which is good for good news for all and sundry. The other thing is that I know the rules can vary. Sometimes we allow a second or third competition caution on an oval race, but on road courses, it's one. It's one. Unless there's an absolute need for race control to throw a caution, it will just be the competition caution. So, and that's been a mainstay rule of servers and series run by Nick Fodiatis from the out. Business as usual for us with the action here tonight. And then, of course, we're back into it Monday night from 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Sutton to the outside of Watson. And we know how aggressive Watson will play this from the outset. He will not yield unless he absolutely has to. He will make Sam Sutton work really, really hard for this. And Sutton likewise as well. And they proved that last night. That's probably one of the reasons they banged wheels. And Watson has support there in the form of Daniel McCrowan. So McCrowan adding to the growing Max Boost stable as well.
Should have turned that music off earlier.
Sorry, Joe. I had to. Sorry, Joe. I just had to lubricate the consoles, mate.
That's okay, mate.
I tell you what, it was getting hard to try and do that last night while I was commentating the Porsches, I must say, because every time you took a mouthful, something else happened on the racetrack.
Especially
Donahue, Dyson, Chapman and Sutton, the top 5.
Especially just after the start of lap 2 in the feature race when yours truly decided to try and spear the back into the leaders.
I do love that you're being a good sport about that, because we thought we might have put the mocker on you here in central commentary, actually. We were talking up how good a run you'd had, up 5 spots, etc. and so forth. No sooner did we talk about it, and then we're like, hang on, what's Baldwin doing off the road? Oh, no. So, no, and then obviously a good recovery nonetheless for you, mate. It was great racing at Road Atlanta last night, and that would have been that had you been successful in putting one up on Denchi, that would have been my early nomination for move of the term.
It would have been a first in about 5 years to get one around around the Master. But I think just as we entered that section, obviously the guys in front got a little bit squirrely in that little tight right hander, and it just opened the door, and I just slammed it shut on myself with a bit of lead foot and cold tyres. So self-inflicted wounds, but it was fun nonetheless. I did actually enjoy it thoroughly. So
indeed. Right. So Art Baz and Tom Donahue, Andrew Dyson and Dylan Shepard and Sam Sutton, the top 5 at the moment. And into pit lane comes Marcus Watson. Watson's on pit road. Let's have a look at that in a moment. Now, I'm not sure if that's routine, because we're only 9 laps in. That is the end of lap 9 that you're just seeing there, ladies and gentlemen. We're on to lap 10. Watson on pit road, right? The first of a leading bunch that haven't run into incident or had any compromising issues throughout the first stint to find their way to pit lane. So that is interesting. And Jeff Adams, Chris Noble and Scott Jordison, copy that, Joe, thank you, have found their way to pit lane as well and back out, but they are all a lap down at least at this point. My SGK is going to be getting a little bit of a resuscitation job done to it, ladies and gentlemen. So if the pluses and minuses on the totem pole don't exactly add up anymore, that's going to be circumstances beyond our control. Nothing we can do about that. But we're going to call this race as best we can, despite a couple of little tech glitches and issues. We appreciate you hanging in there with us as we bring you Anzac Day Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. And that first round of pit stops cannot be far off. Watson the first one to pull the trigger and go to pit lane. Everybody else content to continue running for the moment, with the exception of Sam Stride. He's in, and he's having a good run too. He was inside the top 10 before this stop. Art Baz continues to lead the way from Tom Donahue, Andrew Dyson. Now, we know it's not straightforward, Joe. Long-time viewers of IndyCar will know that competition caution is thrown at random. A number is pre-selected before the race that's not in the first 5 laps or the last 10 laps. I think that's the right mathematics again. First 5, last 10. So therefore, anywhere between lap 6 and 35 here tonight, that competition caution can fly. That can affect race strategy, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the competition caution. But my interest is, if we see pit stops this time by or next time by, that's going to tell us that it's probably a 3-stop race, because you'll be able to go 11 or 12, 22 or 23, and in they come. Art Baz on cue. Yep, Dyson goes around again. Donahue Shepherd into pit lane. So that answers my next question. So we're looking at 11, 12 lap stints at most. So 3 11s and a 12 is 45. 11, 22, 33, get home, save a bit of fuel under the caution. We know how this works. But the variable is, and the sticking point will be, this is what's going to trip a few people up and change the narrative and the strategy play, is where that caution falls. No one knows that number. Not even Nick Fodiatis knows that number. It is organised by race control on the night, and therefore we in the commentary box don't even know either, because we want to be just as surprised as you are at home, ladies and gentlemen, when that caution flies. So a huge flurry of pit activity right now. And Marcus Watson, knowing when the competition caution falls, can feel safe with going with lap 9. If he gets unlucky and it falls, bang on strategy time, then it will ruin the strategy component of the race, because everybody will be on the same thing. It'll be like going to McDonald's. All the cheeseburgers taste the same, no matter whether you go to the store down in Bunbury or over here in Ipswich, right? So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But right now, Andrew Dyson, Sam Sutton, Jack O'Dyle, Cameron Dance, Nick Fodiatis, Adam Lavis, Dave Oliver, Matt Schmidtke, Art Baz. Art Baz is the first of those tour stops, Tyson Broad, 9 of the top 10 yet to stop. Baz the exception. He's the early leader. Dyson, Sutton. Dyson was impressive earlier in the week in GT4, wasn't he? And Cameron Dance goes on for lap 13. So Orbit Drop Bear. Something about Orbit Drop Bear, now that Matty Dench is part of the furniture and framework, and saving fuel, stretching the stint, stretching the legs out a little bit further. They were able to do it. Even Nick Fodiatis and Dave Oliver are in, and Adam Lavis as well, and they're chronic fuel savers. Run the tank dry, but get as much mileage out of it as you can. Fodiatis is gone. Lavis goes with him. Safe run through the pit stops. A very clean run. It looks as though nobody's been tripped up so far, Joe. Everybody well aware of the stipulations regarding pit lane entry, pit lane exit procedure and protocol. Nobody's been tripped up with a stop and hold at this point in time, so we're good to race into the second stint. Lee Partridge still out of business. Bobby Kamoa, Kane Ryder parked up as well. So too Jake Edwards, I should say. Daniel Piper, Craig Watson and Seth Brown, non-starters. And that got a little bit hairy, didn't it? Tom Donahue there in 6th place, trying to get by Marcus Watson. Good luck with that. And trying to fend off Dylan Shepherd at the same time. Again, good luck. But again, that's the quality, the caliber of the field at the moment, Joe. Just everywhere you look, top to tail, there are big names aplenty.
Yeah, look, even Cameron Dance, I think he's former pro in iRacing. You look, Dyson, Baz, Watson, Donahue, Tyson Broad, he was outstanding last week, I think second maybe, Sutton. There's just so many guys down through the field. Angus Cook, look, he hasn't raced for a while, a lot, but he's back and getting his feet together, and he's floating around there. He's up 10 from where he started in 12th at the moment. So, unfortunately, look, I've restarted STK, people, so I am unable to go back and look at the incidents from the beginning of the race. I would love to be able to, but we just can't. The STK had a hissy fit. Yeah. If you thought I was stressing out about having 45 cars on track, wait until you see how STK takes it. But yeah, the field, like the depth of field tonight, especially tonight, it's outstanding. You know, look at Sam Chapman here. Like he's one of the outstanding lights in the club when it comes to open wheel, high horsepower, downforce cars. He won one of the AAWN interclubs for us, the inaugural one, actually a couple of seasons ago. And here he is up 11 positions, yet still mired in 23rd. So that means a 34th qualifying. So it's the depth of field. It's just outstanding tonight. It's crazy. Dylan Shepherd.
It certainly is, Joe. And it's that's the hallmark, the trademark of the club, and everything that's been done over the last 5 years. That says a lot about the work that's been done behind the scenes, the quality of the product that's been offered for 5 years. That all comes down to you guys and everything that the club has achieved and the numbers that it continues to, maintain in terms of membership presence, the numbers that turn up to go racing here. That's all testament to the work that you guys have done over a long period of time. I can only take a small amount of credit of that, as I've got the easiest job here. I get to stand here and yell at monitors, right? But everything that you guys have done over the longest period of time, be very proud of that, because this has become a place that people want to go racing in.
Yeah, thanks. And it's the same old thing, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. It's been 5 years of recruiting great guys at a committee level, RCs, which are never easy to keep because people want to race rather than do an RC. But we've got a pretty good team there now. We're still chasing a couple of more RCs to, especially with the numbers we've got now. It's now that time is probably more pertinent than ever, where we need these sort of people to come in and just give us a hand. But we're doing, I think, an outstanding job with the team we've got at the moment. Like we've got an AGM coming up again in the next couple of months. We're about to start getting organised for that. But by and large, I think the club's taken a huge step forward, especially, I think I mentioned it just earlier on, like in the last 12 months, I'm glad to say the professionals, obviously I've had a bit of a rough run with my broadcast the last couple of weeks. We'll get on top of that, but it's, really proud of where the club started 5 years ago to where we are today, and the numbers on track and that are still pouring into the club are probably proving us right in what we're doing.
Lap 16, ladies and gentlemen. 20 and a half minutes of racing gone. Andrew Dyson leads from Art Baz. Marcus Watson through the first stint. Watson up a couple of spots already, going nicely. That was what happened to Marcus Hankey, the other Marcus in the field tonight. Now, interesting too, the strategy between primary drivers and alternate runners, primary tyres and alternate. Only two of the top 15 at the moment running on that red tyre, and that includes the man that's just got the second on the outside of Art Baz. That was Marcus Watson. Very nicely done. Next target for him, 1.3 seconds down the road, is Andrew Dyson. These guys will have some push to pass time to burn tonight as well, Joe.
They do. They have 200 seconds. You can see over on the right, second to the right on the totem pole, it's got your how many seconds are left? Does it say there? Hang on. Next to the tyre. So that shows Andrew Dyson, he hasn't even pushed the button yet, whereas Marcus Watson's used 49 seconds worth of push to pass, and Art Bass he's already used half his allocation. He's down to 102 seconds. So the numbers are up there. People keep an eye on it. Here's the other guy. He's having a strong run tonight. He's up 5 in 11. Sam Stride, he's the other driver on the alternate tyre in the top 10. So he hasn't touched his push to pass button yet. So one of two things there. He's either trying to conserve or he's forgotten to map the button. And no one's Stride. He's probably forgotten to map the button, because we all know how speedy Stride likes to be. And the other thing as well is Watson needs to be careful. Once you get to the front, if you've got opponents breathing down your neck and they've got push to pass to burn, advantage them, right? Wrong way to go around here. You've got to be strategically tactful and smart about how you go, intelligent about how you go about burning your push to pass time. Everybody gets the same amount. Some people don't use all of it. We know that. We've seen that beautifully
illustrated and executed over the course of time in IndyCar races here. But if you need to, push on when the whips are cracking at the back end and you need that extra little bit of go, it's handy to have it up your sleeve at the back end of proceedings, especially if everybody gets bunched up by a late caution, if that random competition caution gets thrown around that lap 30 to 35 marker, remembering that the last possible lap that it can be thrown, because it can be thrown no earlier than 5 laps into the race, so that's lap 6 onwards, 5 laps have to be completed, and no later than 10 laps to go. So it could be thrown on lap 35 partway through before the end of lap 35, but it cannot be thrown on lap 36 based on the regulations that Nick has in place. And if we do get a late one, right, by random draw, then by G, that's going to bunch everything up and really make things tense and intense for the balance of the proceedings.
I could probably be sneaky. I could probably send race control a bit of a message and try and get a heads up of when it is, but I don't want to spoil the fun.
No, that's right. That's right. And it's interesting too, Joe. You look through this, right? We're edging closer to half race distance. Liam Haycock being overtaken there on the inside. Jackson Rayhana doing the job, going up into 22nd spot, still down 7 on where he started. Haycock gets into the side of Rayhana. Rayhana's wide and sideways. Haycock redresses, and that's going to bring... oh, no, that's lap traffic. Don't worry about that. Matt Schmidtke's 3 seconds down the road from this mob. I tell you what, that could have been made things really hairy had Rayhana and Haycock got embroiled in a 3-car fight, but no, that's a lapped car behind them at the moment, so don't worry too much about that. Martin Davis is in there with Matt Schmidtke and Nathan Michael, and Nathan Michael's just gone by Matt Schmidtke. Eli Donaldson, 27. The interesting thing is, Joe, and that illustrates the point, Rayhana and Haycock, look through this field. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 battles throughout the field from first down to the mid-30s. And trouble in the wall, Marcus Hankey. Marcus Hankey, and he just kept it off, did he?
Schmidtke it was.
Schmidtke, my apologies.
It was, yeah.
My apologies. I had Hankey's name up there in the bottom left corner for a moment there. My apologies. I called it as it was.
doing SDK things, people.
I agree. Now, to the credit of the field, though, right, in comes Jackson Rayhana, so he pits early. He gets out of it on lap 20, the end of lap 19 for him, right? Lap 20 of 45, almost half race distance. We're about 3 laps from halfway. That's point number 1. Point number 2, you look through this field, there's 5 or 6 cars lining up. Scott Jordison's 2 laps down, forget about him, but Jeff Adams, Chris Noble, Lachlan Olsen, Julian Mookie, Siobhan McKernan, and also Phil Otto. They are waiting with bated breath. So too Marcus Hankey for that competition caution to be thrown so that they can get their wave around and get their lap back. But at the moment, that means that we've got 2016, Marcus Watson comes to pit lane, second stop for him, so that stint was 11 laps to complement the 9-lap opening stint. You look at Andrew Dyson, 20.3 laps, 19.3. Pete Matson's the next one to go a lap down. Still 30 cars on the lead lap around a tight little cauldron like this, where the laps are coming and going in 75 seconds. We've had incidents aplenty. The field's spread out. Still 30 on the lead lap, which means genuinely there's still 30 contenders. In reality, there's not, but theoretically, mathematically, there's still 30 genuine contenders vying for 25 positions that pay championship points, Joe. So there's a lot still to play for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So, Lockhart Brownlee, he's fast. He's outside the 25. Jackson Rayhana, he won't be happy being out the 25. There's and Marcus Hankey,
but they're off sequence too, because they've stopped early. Yeah,
definitely. Even the battle boxes at work.
Do change colours every now and then, so that's what caught me off guard. But the Flash Graphics logo, we need to have another look at that Sam Chapman incident. Sorry to do that to you, Trucker.
That's
but
right,
I just
mate,
get the feeling that it might have been Jackson, and that will come with its own invoice, I would imagine. Race Control won't view that too favourably. But the other problem that Jacko faces at the moment is that it's lap 24. He stopped lap 19. He would need to get a 13-lap stints out. Have a look at that. Yeah, I reckon we've solved the problem there, Joe.
Hang on, what am I?
Yeah. I don't think Chapo's to blame either.
No.
But because the safety car is blocking his view and he can just drive straight through that, he's arrived on site blind.
Yes.
So as much as we can sit here and say, yes, he might have a case to answer for, that angle that we've just seen probably gets him off.
Yeah.
It probably gets listed as a racing incident because of that. Now, what you can see here, folks, just quickly, the cars are all moving to the left-hand side because we're waving by the drivers that are all up down at the moment. We're waving them by. Pit lane, a hub of activity still. That's Pete Matson, Phil Otto, Siobhan McKernan, Liam Haycock, Julian Mookie, Lachlan Olsen, Chris Noble, and then I think Jeff Adams and Scott Jordison are all on pit lane at this point. Jordison actually still yet to come to pit lane. But the other problem they've got is, are they actually going to get back out onto the racetrack ahead of the safety car in the field that they've just been waved by? We will wait and see. Watson, Stride, Rayhana, Dyson and Sutton, the top 5 at the moment. So we'll have to find out from Thomas Cole in race control. I keep going to call him Thomas Cole. I don't know why, but Thomas Cole's in race control for us, and he might be able to offer us some insight into that.
Jeff Adams has made it out. Liam Haycock, Lee Partridge and Scott Jordison are trapped.
Oh dear, and Haycock's been there for 1:50, so there's something a little bit something a little bit untoward potentially happening there. And now look at the leaders coming in. So Broad and Trott and Oliver, they're in for a third stop. And so Haycock, well, Partridge has been in from the outset. He's been there for 23 minutes now. Forget about him, he's out of business, right? 38 cars still in this race. Scott Jordison comes in. I mean, he's out there just purely going through the motions now. He's not going to score points unless something catastrophic happens to those around him, I wouldn't imagine. And the reason for that is he was 2 laps down. So he's only 1 lap down now. And now we've had garbage unfolding, the field getting checked up and crashing under the safety car. So that explains why we've got a second round of pit stops happening.
Broad's been hit from the rear, I think maybe by Liam Haycock. No, look at this big concertina there, and Max Mickey was lucky he missed.
Jeez. So all that's happened whilst we've been trying to solve the problems of the world, a la Rayhana and Chapman, and what the hell went on there. So all that's unfolded whilst we've been trying to, wow. Okay. So 35 minutes and 50 seconds gone. We're on lap 25. I don't know if we've been able to make any sense of that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Time will only tell. But have a look at the leaderboard. Have a look at that. Because of that consultina and everything else that's played out, it's Watson, it's Stride, it's Rayhana, it's Dyson, Sutton, Shepherd, Donahue, Dial, Dance, and Edmonds, the top 10. And of the entire field at the moment, we'd have to have a look at the qualifying sheet, because I think some of these numbers aren't a true reflection of where everybody started because of the SDK glitch and reset. But the only man on our screen showing as +0 at the moment is the man in 10th, and that is Daniel Edmonds. So let's have a look at that qualifying results sheet if we can, Joe. Just remind everybody of what happened there.
I've actually just clicked on it, and because of the reset, it's not there.
Yeah. Copy. All right.
Thanks,
so we'll just have to.
Love your work.
Yep. Technology doing technological things, just challenging our tolerance and patience and temperament.
What I can actually tell you, and you said on the
lights are out on the
totem
safety
there
car.
now. Lights are out on the safety car. So Watson's up 7, 14 up for Stride, 12 up for Rayhana, 2 up for Dyson. So the majority of the guys there, that can't be right. How can everybody go up and no one's gone down?
Well, that's exactly. Well, if you have a look down the order,
Lachlan Olsen qualified pole, and he's down
30th and backward.
So the plus minuses are actually correct according to what we're seeing there. I think that side of it's actually correct. It's
well, that's good.
We can't see it on through SDK to have a fresh look at it.
Topic. Rightio. So watch this now, Joe, because we've just had a chance to reset and go again. Rayhana, you were going to say?
I was going to say, Rayhana's in a bit of a box seat here to pick up a great result, because he's up 11. Oh, is that overlap before the start finish by Stride?
I tell you what. I tell you what, there might be a case or two to answer off that restart too, ladies and gentlemen. And have a look at this. Rayhana, Dyson, Stride got boxed out of it. And Watson has taken off and gone to the races.
I think Stride...
Back on the way at Okayama.
Stridey's actually redressed that straight away.
Yeah, he knew that he might have been in a little bit of trouble. Trouble. Darwin, Edmonds and Dance and a few others gone. Stridey's been crunched up. And that was all caused by the redress, you'd have to say.
I think... Oh, no!
He's done what you did last night. He's done pretty much exactly what you did last night. Tripped up on the outside line.
He has Nathan Michael. He's the poor guy got caught. So Strider's up here. He's on the outside.
Like this.
Oh, no. He's done the same.
Yep.
What the...
Did you just see the flying somersault land on the head of, I don't know who it was, but Brownlee, Stride, Donaldson, Trott and Hankey are all on pit road. What the hell? Restarts, trigger, cautions, trigger cautions, ladies and gentlemen, except here where we're racing green to the checkered flag and you've just got to fend for yourself. If you've been involved in the crash this time around, bad luck to you. Who's on their lid? That's what we want to know. We want to see what it looks like from the replay of whoever went flying through the air. Let's have a look. And in comes Matt Schmidtke now as well. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, so
bang. Right, wait for it. Oh. Yes, Schmidtke, Dance and Michael now to pit lane as well. Pit lane is busier than the track at the moment.
But
we need
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Well picked, Joe. Well picked.
Yeah, look.
Watch it.
Oh, my
Bang.
Lord.
Uh-oh. Up and over and goodbye goes the camera. The camera's not having a bar of that.
Here we go.
Bad luck for Eli Donaldson.
I just want to put a shout out to STK tonight. Sponsored, proudly brought to you by STK. Tom Donahoe and Angus Cook, they're in a good battle here at the moment.
Well done.
Cook is finding his feet. He's in ninth.
Yep.
Nick Fadiatis, he's a bit of a sneaker in the Indycar, and have a look at him back there. He's one behind Cookie in 10th at the moment, up 14. Dave Baz, he's up 17. The big gap there. That's unfortunately that incident spread the field out a lot, and I think I would say fresh cold tyres is probably what's caught out some of those guys. Yeah, same as what happened to yours truly last night at the start of race 2 there on lap 2. But so easily done. You can see the opportunity there to make up a few positions, and it just doesn't work out.
All right, we continue on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And if you weren't able to make sense of it beforehand, good luck making sense of it now. Daniel Edmonds being relegated there at the moment. That's a beautiful piece of driving from Jacko Dial, up 12 spots already. Dial is up to 6th. You were right, Joe. STK has actually got the pluses and minuses right here because Rayhana's up 10, Dial's up 12. That actually makes sense to me. And Dylan Shepherd is up 8. So all the heavy hitters are coming to the front at the right end. You can win this from anywhere on the grid, but if you're Marcus Watson, you don't want any of the blokes behind you catching you. You're 2.1 to the good at the moment. In comes Rayhana. That's the other problem. I don't think Rayhana can get home from here.
Well,
surely he can't get home from here.
Did he have damage? I can't see anything that would have given damage, and he stopped on lap 19, so...
Oh. Holy cow. Sorry, Joe. 1:13.468 for Dylan Shepherd. Fastest lap of the night. Holy cow.
Wow.
That's an extraordinary number. That is an extraordinary number. And this is Dylan Shepherd now, right up onto the back of Sam Sutton and Andrew Dyson. Dyson's been impressive this week, hasn't he? Jeez. He's had a really good week. Had a win in the GT3 split that he's running in. I think it was Pro-Am. And had a win in GT4. Now running second to Marcus Watson, which is nothing to sneeze at, nothing to turn your nose up at, in the GSRC Spreyton Cider Road to Indy series on the platforms of the GSRC, Friday Night Motorsport, Anzac Day Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Have a look at the commitment. Riding the Rebel Strip through the second to the last corner, round onto the main straight, another lap in the books. Lap 29 is done, 16 to go. 42.5 minutes gone, actually make it 43 neat. Gone here for Friday Night Motorsport's main course. David Baz off the road. David Baz off the road. Sorry, Joe. David Baz is dropping down the order to 13th now. That's disappointing for him. 15th, I should say. He was running 13th. He's still plus 13 on where he started. Lachlan Olsen's just gone on by. And was there a touch? What? Oh, they're forcing the issue through the final corner. Yes, there definitely was a touch.
Yes.
To be fair,
I think.
But in Dial's defence, and I don't normally go into bat for anyone, he was well and truly passed. He had the overlap. So whether or not Baz has turned in, expecting Dial to maintain the inside line, I'm not sure. Yeah, Tyson Broad, and we know he's not afraid to get his elbows out when he has to either.
No, not at all. And look, Chris Noble, after his incident on lap 1, he's up 10 positions. Now he got his lap back. Yeah, so he was about 26th on the restart, so he's up 13 just from the restart. Chris Noble back here, so he'll be looking to get a bag of points in. He had a I don't actually, he may not have been here last week actually.
You know what I'm happy about, Joe? The amount of competitors that have arrived for Formula Ford and stayed for IndyCar. And then, yeah, they've had issues in IndyCar and still stuck it out. I mean, have a look at the running order at the moment. Okay, we've started to lose a few, but it took until lap 26. Lockhart, Brownlee, Sam Stride, John Trott, all parked up on that lap. We lost a few early on, of course, on consecutive laps. We lost... sorry, the SDK timing screen's just disappeared momentarily on me. It'll come back in a moment, folks. There it is. And as I do that, I can tell you that Jake Edwards, of course, was an early retirement. Bobby Camo and Kane Ryder, first, second and third lap. Then we didn't lose anyone for another 23 laps. So lap 26 for Trott, Stride and Brownlee. But then you look at it, there's 35 cars still out there, for goodness sake. And off goes Daniel McCrullen now as well. The team max boost entry down 22 spots and on the tow ropes. So that is not a good way for his night to end. Marcus Watson leads, 0.8 the margin to Dyson. Sutton, Shepherd, Dial, Edmonds, Cook, Donahue, Fodiatis and Bettis, the top 10. And our mate Nick Fodiatis is sitting bloody pretty, isn't he? Have a look at that.
He's not doing
Jesus,
too bad, is
up
he?
15 spots from 24th to 9th. He loves these Indy cars. To be fair, right, take nothing away from Nick. He's a quality steerer, and he knows this caper just as well as anyone else in the club. Lachlan Olsen off the road, loses out to Jeff Adams. Jeff Adams having a great night, 2 seconds in Formula Ford, up to 16th here. Still down 3 on where he started, but Christ, there's a long way to go. But you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to take advantage of the misfortune of others, and there are a few people that are beneficiaries of the unfortunate number of incidents that have happened tonight. But you cannot put 42 cars. Oh wow! Have a look at Pete with his pirouetting and somersaulting. Fantastic. And the loop work even better. Very nicely done to get it back pointing in the right direction. But you couldn't have put 42 cars on the racetrack and expected it to be a clean race. There was always going to be a probability of carnage, and we've seen that maybe a little bit more than we would have liked, but yes, it's all part of the narrative. It's whittled out the pretenders from the contenders, and it's really shaken things up. I don't think there's any complaints with the caliber of the guys that are in the top 10 at the moment. I mean, Ryan Bettis has been at the forefront of proceedings this week. Adam Lavis is on the cusp of the top 10. Tyson Broad's there with him. Chris Noble in 13th spot. So everybody at that top end of town, have earned their place there, and they are well credentialed within the platforms of the GSRC. There's no doubt about that. Let's have a look at what happened to Vaughan Ryder at the end of the back straight.
And that's how
hard over the top and riding.
That's how Formula Fords are made, people.
Art is riding Vaughan. And no pun intended there, given that the surname of Vaughan is Ryder. He wouldn't have wanted a second rider on his car, but anyway, he got one. And and off to pit lane they go on the tow rope, I would imagine. Yep, and they're both there right now. And that will be adding to the casualty ward of tonight. And again, so easy as we see Andrew Dyson coming to pit lane now. This should be his final stop, and also for the race-leading Marcus Watson. 12 laps to the checkered flag after this one is done, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 33 is in the books, lap 34. 12 laps to home. These guys should be able to top up and get home. This is the last critical stop for anyone on pit road right now. Donahue, Bettis and Davis as well. So this is now that part of the race where we're going to get a real good insight as to if anyone can stop Marcus Watson, who it might be, and Watson just needs to make sure that he dots the I's, crosses the T's, is faultless on pit road and gets back out there to give himself the best possible chance of covering off the overcutting Sam Sutton, etc. But on pit road, probably next time by, if not the time after that. Dylan Shepherd up to second spot. Jackson Doyle is third. Daniel Edmonds is fourth. And Angus Cook is fifth. Nick Fodiatis sixth. Tyson Broad, Adam Laver seventh and eighth. But they are all yet to stop. So too Chris Noble and David Baz. Now, the other interesting thing is, yeah, you're going to have incidents like what we just saw there. It takes one driver to get crossed up and have no say in where they're going, just being a passenger, to inadvertently ruin somebody else's night. And when you're an innocent bystander, there have been a few instances where that has occurred tonight. There hasn't been too much in the way of malice. Yes, there have been a couple of incidents like that safety car one. That's freakish. That's weird. That's 1 in a million sort of stuff. That doesn't normally happen. And maybe the safety car needs to be a ghost car going forward. I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those things. You just, it's been that sort of night. There's just been so much thrown at these guys, and they've handled it beautifully. It's been a lot for us to try and wrap our head around as well. I'm sure we've missed one or two things along the way, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm talking as quickly as I can to try and cover it all off for you. Sam Sutton, Dylan Shepherd, Jackson Dial, all going around again. On pit road comes Chris Noble, Jeff Adams, and Sam Chapman. 11 laps to go. Last round of pit stops imminent, Joe.
Yeah, it's all happening. And I hate to say that I've just had a look at the YouTube and they're about 4 laps behind what we're doing. But when it all goes up live, this is exactly what they'll see. So, it'll all be good. But look, this has turned out, I think we're going to have a bit of a grandstand finish here. These guys are putting on, and it's one of those things, you want to be the first guy to pit last. And Marcus certainly dived in as soon as he had the opportunity to know that once he filled the tank, he was home and hosed, he was going to make it, because any of the guys that were in front of him, they all have to pit as well to get home within that window. So I'm hoping for Marcus Watson, and as you can see here, he's got pretty much clear track in front of him right now. So that'll be a lap car up ahead of him. That might be Tyson Broad. But no. Or as we come, might be Phil Otto down a lap. So he's he's in a good position. So he's already up to 4th.
Yeah.
And the 3 guys up in front of him are still yet to pit.
Yeah. Jacko Giles managed to come out and cover off Jackson Rayhana as well. He's come out in 7th. Rayhana is in 8th. Edmonds, Fodiatis, Lavis and Donahue make up the top 12. Hello, boys. Get it together. Get it sorted. The 2 Jackos going at it. Dial and Rayhana. Oh, God! Rayhana did incredibly well to miss that. Dial's looped it. He drops down to 9th. It only cost him 2 spots. Had that been the first lap after the caution when everybody was bunched up, it would have been a hell of a lot more costly, but it rules him out of the battle with Rayhana as Angus Cook comes to pit lane. Tyson Broad follows. That will cleanse the field. Marcus Watson's your effective race leader. Sutton and Dyson were in striking distance, and then Dylan Shepherd. My goodness, how lucky is Jack O'Donnell, and furthermore, how lucky is Jackson Rayhana. Hairbreadth stuff, millimetres between life and death in that instance.
That was about as close as you ever want to get. I never even registered as an off track or anything. So I can't even click back on it. But my Lord, that was pretty spicy.
And I'll tell you what. Oh, actually, no, not incredibly lucky at all. Rayhana's had to come to pit lane. Rayhana comes to pit lane and gets back out in, it's going to be 15th, 16th, maybe 17th position by the time they all go through. 18th, Jeff Adams is going to go around the outside as well, I think.
He would have needed to pit anyway. Remember, he was out of sequence pitted before, so...
He was. Yeah. And now he's got Jeff Adams to contend with as well for 17th and 18th on the racetrack. That's bad luck for Jackson Rayhana. What about our mate there, Nick Fodiatis, in 8th at the moment, going beautifully. 3-1, that won't work, gentlemen. Poured up, well done. Jeff Adams got his hands full at the moment. It's Cameron Dance going down on the inside to get by him. And Jackson Rayhana has got his hands full with both Danson Adams and Sam Chapman in the closing stages. Lock up and oh wow!
That was Oliver.
What the hell is going on here in Japan?
Yeah,
what about that?
That was Jeffrey. Locked the brakes.
It was. Yep. Down 7 spots on where he started, but what a hell of a night he's had. And that is just a lucky escape as far as I'm concerned. And now Chapo trying to get by as well on Cameron Dance. Everywhere you look, there's a heavyweight of the club duking it out. Dance is going to pit lane. That rules him out. Goodbye. Sutton's got by Watson. Sutton has got by Watson. Sutton's your race leader in Japan. Down the inside, we've got a genuine three-way fight here with 8 laps to go. And Orbit drop bear Sam Sutton has found his way to the front. Dyson is there as well.
He's right in the mix.
Watson won't be happy with that. These two juked it out last night. They got caught up. They locked wheels at the Hockenheim ring. So now it's round 2 of the duel. And Sutton has the advantage at the moment. Dials off the road again. Fodiatis goes to 7th. And that was a wheel wide by Andrew Dyson coming onto the main straight as well. Dyler's throwing everything at this, but he's lost a couple of spots in the process. Angus Cook returns to the circuit in 6th spot after pitting on lap 36. 16 positions gained for him. 17 for Nick Fodiatis. 34 for Ryan Bettis from 44th to 10th. Get out of here.
They're all on the button too. Look at it lighting up green. Sutton, Watson, and Davis and Olsen further back in the field are on the button. But yeah, oh, here we go.
Whoa! Now that's not traffic. That's Pete Knudsen. It's taken Dyson out. Dyson's lost the front wing. The spinning Pete Knudsen. And Dyson had nowhere to go. And then there were 2 at the front. Shepard's going to go through the 3rd. Unlucky for Dyson. Holy hell.
What's up, Matto might have had
Ryan Bettis is doing. Ryan Bettis is doing. Yeah, Matto was trying to give way. There it is on your screen. Matto was trying to give way to both Sutton and Watson, who were trying to put a lap on him. And he's just run wide. He's caught the marbles, the rubbish on the outside of the circuit, and caught a little bit of the dust as well. And that's just sent him there. Gone. Go, see you later. And Dyson had nowhere to go. Dyson had nowhere to go. He's on pit road. He'll get the repair. He'll get back out there. Ryan Bettis is up 35 spots. He's doing tonight what Tyson Broad did in the feature race of the Porsches last night. And Sam Sutton leads by 1.3 over Marcus Watson, the championship leader. And we could yet have another race winner joining the list on what's been a huge week here. And a huge night, least of all, on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Are you kidding me? What the hell? 1.4 seconds, Sutton to Watson.
Wilder sequences of events that you're going to see here on a Friday night. That was just, Marcus got passed by Sutton, and just dreadful luck for what's the name there? My mind is running about as
Dyson.
fast as it's okay at the moment. By Andrew Dyson, unlucky. Matto was trying to do the right thing and just got it on the grass on the edge of the track, and the big heavy clumps of car got away from him, and just Dyson had nowhere to go. So absolutely a result gone begging, but Dylan Shepherd, I'm sure he'll be happy with picking up that 3rd on the podium that he's got at the moment, and he's got 7 seconds back to Daniel Edmonds. So the top 3 at the moment is probably only going to be decided between Sam Sutton and Marcus Watson. They're all on the button at the moment, which is and Sutton, he's got a fair old break. He's put 2.5 seconds on Marcus.
Yeah, and it's amazing what clear air does. Maybe Watson's on worn rubber. Maybe Sutton's just got that extra gear at the back end of proceedings. Fatigue will be playing a factor. They've been aboard the cockpit for 58 minutes now, Joe. It's been a real fast-paced, relentless, taxing sort of night. And right now, Jack O'Donnell and Nick Fodiatis are keeping one another honest as well.
Oh,
Fodiatis and Dial side by side, and Fodiatis is going up on the inside of Dial. Is that for 6th? Dial around the outside, bowls it wide. Fodiatis puts his nose in front. Dial's got company there in the form of his teammate Tyson Broad, and Nick might yet be muscled out. Here he is. The double take, the teamwork. They gang up on Nick and relegate him to 8th. Ryan Bettis is 9th, and he'll be firing on all cylinders. Coming home with a wet sail. Adam Lavis has got himself into the top 10.
And just
That's a case of what might have been beyond that, Joe.
Ryan Bettis is up 35 positions from his starting grid. Amazing
just
stuff.
Madness.
I hope he joins
Absolutely
us.
madness.
Hope he joins us in the booth after the race, because I want to know how the hell he does it. That's crazy. And up 23 as well. Martin Davis, he's up 23 spots into 15th. Chapo's up 17 into 17, although he did have that incident there at the commencement of the yellow flag, unfortunately. Well, at the moment, this is still our... Ryan Bettis all over the back of Nick Fodiatis now. He's fighting for his life to hang into the top 10 there.
Yep.
Oh, no!
Trouble. Oh, Nick Fodiatis, can you believe that? He's come together with Ryan Bettis, and Adam Lavis is the beneficiary of that, and Bettis has damage. Bettis has damage. His charge is done. Can he limp to the line with a broken front wing? I would assume that he's going to try to do so, like a stubborn bloke does at this point of the race when there's only 3 laps to go. And he'll push on with a broken front wing. 3 to go. It's lap 43 or 45. They're just starting up 43 now, those guys. Yeah, you're right, Joe. All good. All good. I knew where I was. 2.5 to go for our race leader. Sutton's now 3 seconds clear of Watson. Watson will continue his podium run here in the championship, as will Sutton. Sutton, of course, second last week. Watson the winner. So they're just going to trade places this time round. Last week it was Sandown, this week Okayama, next week the first of the Ovals Auto Club Speedway in California, and that will be carnage. That will be fast-paced bedlam for those guys next week, because it will be full throttle every step of the way. We'll be talking bump drafting, slipstreaming, 3-wide action. It'll be the equivalent of NASCAR at Talladega, which you can see Monday morning on Fox Sports, by the way, Australia. There's a cheeky plug for you. This is all happening here in the closing stages, but that's unlucky for Nick. It's also unlucky for Ryan. 34 positions gained nonetheless. What an extraordinary drive it's been right up until that point. The only foot that he's put wrong all night, really. Sutton, Watson, Shepherd, the fastest lap of the race, 1:13, 4.68. He did that on the primary tyres earlier in the evening. Sorry, on the alternate tyres earlier in the evening. Yeah. Fodiatis bowled a royal wide there a moment ago, a lap and a half to go.
Looks like Baz has got one of the Red Bull side pods from Silverstone back in 01, back in 21 rather, flapping off the side there. So he's, I'm sure his aero wouldn't be doing him any favours at the moment with Dave Oliver all over him. Andrew Dyson, he's making a play. He's got by Bettis. He's on the back end of the top 10 again after his little incident with Maddo a few laps back. So he's got a fast repair and he's climbing back up. So I'm sure he's got Nick's 0.2 seconds ahead. So he's going to have a red hot go. He's got 2 laps to go to try and pull that time in on Nick. And Nick could be carrying, he'd have to have rear end damage, so he'd be suffering right now.
White flag in the air. White flag in the air. We're on the run home, Joe. We're going to get there with about 2 minutes of time to spare. And that is Sam Sutton greeting the judges, saluting the starter, taking the white flag. He's on the run to the checkered flag. Marcus Watson second. Dylan Shepherd is third. Fourth is Daniel Edmonds. Then Angus Cook, Jack O'Donnell, Tyson Broad, Adam Lavis, Nick Fodiatis, and Andrew Dyson, the top 10. Fairly processional sort of end of proceedings here. Shepherd is only a second away from Watson. That's the closest battle in the top 10. Dave Oliver's hounding David Baz for 16th. and they've still got a lap to go. Oh, they'll get 16th because Martin Davis is on pit road unexpectedly. Martin Davis on pit road. Chapman will go to 13th. Jeff Adams will go 14th and David Baz 15th. Dave Oliver 16th, still with a chance to go to 15th. Of course, Brad Hudson, Cameron Dance, Matt Schmidtke. And that's the thing. It's a numbers game, isn't it? And there have been a few people tripped up by incorrect calls on the strategy front tonight, Joe.
Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy to do when you're talking onesies and twosies on your laps.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very, very easy note to make. So, but Sam Sutton gets the job done.
Sam Sutton victorious. Goes one better than he did last week at Sandown. Wins round 2 of the Spreyton side of the road. So let's bounce across a couple of things here, mate, and recap the night that was. And hello to Adam Lavis. Hello to Sam Chapman and Sam Sutton, who have joined us here in the commentary box since the post-race show started. We're getting to Angus Cook in just a moment. Marcus Watson's on his way in too. So there's a fair bit to rip through here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll try and get you out of here by 11 o'clock. But Nick, this just bodes well. This just builds the momentum for what's left throughout the course of this season. We've got a 2-team battle at the front of the field. We've got Max Boost up against Orbit Drop Bear. We've got numbers turning up in record capacity. We've got our first oval race of the season next week, and we know what sort of a spectacle the Auto Club Speedway puts on when it comes to IndyCar. Everything's alive and well on a Friday night at the moment.
Who says Friday nights are dead? I actually had an opinion that we might be running IndyCar season 2 early, but round 2, we're only second round in, it doesn't look like it at all. So, look, thank everybody for coming along and give it a shot.
I just had, I reckon I heard someone, I don't know who it was, just say, keep it, Nick, keep it. So, no, IndyCar's a winner at the moment, which is really good to see. And just as
we're going into the month of May too, Zach.
That's exactly right. Jeff Adams and Dylan Shepard have jumped on into the booth too. So we'll whip around the room as best we can here. I want to get to Jeff Adams actually, particularly because of the significance of the day, because of how he started the day, because of how he went in Formula Ford and a few other things. I'll get to Jeff in a moment. So apologies to everybody else, but Jeff's going to get preferential treatment here.
He's been up since dawn.
Exactly. So he'll be a very tired boy, but it's such a special day. And I reckon that, everybody was up and about tonight. You mentioned the word emotion, Nick. Hard not to be on a day like this, because even though, there was no link to Anzac Day with what we were doing, except for the fact that it fell on the date, it's a significant day on the calendar. The hairs in the back of the neck have been standing up since we've listened to the last post and everything else, that Anzac Day is all about the commemoration, the celebration and everything else. So I can understand that everybody's feeling a little bit sentimental tonight, and quite rightly so. Before I let you go, mate, firstly, at GT4 Monday night, looking forward to seeing you there. And then secondly, Auto Club, we can talk about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the mad month of May later on in the piece here, because we're going to have some great racing from the real world Indy cars once we get there. Testing this week for the 500. Obviously, a couple of people tripped up, but rather have that happen now than on the day of the 500 itself, which is, of course, early hours Monday, May 26, Australian Eastern Standard Time. But as far as you're concerned, Auto Club next week, you're going to have to be tactical and you're going to have to be smart there, because everybody's going to be bunched up. There's going to be some pack racing, and we know that the dangers that are associated with that, it can trip a few people up. Just think about Ryan Briscoe flipping and flying in the real world about a decade ago.
Oh, look, no place owes you one, but I swear that place owes me at least one. There's been so many times I've been in contention for a win and just tossed it all away. So I'm just going to sit back, relax, take it easy, let the pack do what it needs to do, and we'll go from there. Qualifying hasn't been my forte at all. So to be top 10, I should have been top 10 last week, and top 10 this week, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and mate, hopefully IndyCar will enjoy similar support that the Porsches and the GT3s of the world do, in the sense that the numbers have remained, at least high 20s beyond throughout the course of the term. Normally we see a drop-off. That's normal. We expect that. But it hasn't been as common a talking point in GT3 and Porsches in recent times because the tribe keep turning up. The cohort keeps supporting it. Let's hope IndyCar is going to be very similar throughout the course of this term because 42 around the Oval in California next week will be awesome fun.
Yeah, supply and demand, Zach. So I generally like to change the series because, we get fluctuating numbers. But if this keeps on through to round 10, hey, look, let's run a second season. But guys have to vote with their feet and keep turning up.
Absolutely. Let's remind everybody, Auto Club, then there's round 4 and 6. We've got a couple of venues that are going to vote at the moment for them. Round 5 is Donington Park. Round 7 is Homestead, Miami, so the second of the ovals. Road America, then Portland, the newest venue on the server, and then the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 90 minutes of racing around there, which will be an enormous amount of fun. You happy with the start of the season, mate, from your personal standpoint, your own racing standpoint? I mean, we could talk about the organisational side of things and the operational the fact that you orchestrate this and put this all together. We can talk about that until the cows come home. But from your standpoint, from a driving standpoint, from a results standpoint, are you happy?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, like I said, the caliber of people who are turning up is top shelf. It's the, our top GT guys, our top V8 guys, our top Porsche guys are turning up for this. So I'm stoked. It's fantastic. It's one of the best Friday night turnouts in a long time.
All right, mate. I agree. I don't think we've had a better Friday night turnout in the history of the club. It's just extraordinary. And we've been here. This is now the 6th season, the 6th calendar year, I should say, the 21st season of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It came up in the Facebook memories recently, actually, the 5-year anniversary of me jumping in the booth with you for the first time on a Friday night. They were the COVID days, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow, that was a long time ago. And yet it feels like yesterday. Go and get some sleep, mate. You've earned it. Well done. We'll see you on Monday.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
There he is, Nick Fodiatis. Jeff Adams, to you. I mentioned the emotion of the day, the enormity of the day. Was that, playing on the mind and spurring you on tonight, mate? Well done. That was an awesome drive in Formula Ford and backed it up with a solid result in IndyCar, albeit it could have been a little bit better, but hey, top 20 in a field that packed. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's been a big day. I was questioning whether I was going to turn up tonight, being such a long day with Anzac with the services. My wife was marching in the city today in a uniform, so that was a big day, and the kids all came along, so it was really good. But so I thought I'd jump on, and must be something in the water today because I did a lot better than I was expecting.
Well, something about, actually, to be fair, don't think it's gone unnoticed, mate. We've noticed the improvement in you as a driver, as the results that chalking up. Sorry, I couldn't think of the right adjective. It's been a long day, you're right. But all the ingredients are working for you and moving in the right direction here. But to see it apply to an open wheel night, and especially, to double up with the second race, the second place results in Formula Ford, no mean feat considering the drivers that were ahead of you in those 2 races. But then obviously to very quickly turn it around and get your head around IndyCar in a field that stacked, in a track that was that busy. Probably one of the better nights you've ever had in the cockpit on the platforms of the GSRC.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Probably one of my better nights. But unfortunately, at the start of the first of the IndyCar, I got wiped out on turn 1, so I was on the back foot there. But I enjoyed I did enjoy the travel all the way back up to 20th. So it was good fun.
Well, to be fair, you had good company in the parking lot at turn 1. There were no actual car parks drawn up for you blokes, but you found a way into the kitty litter. There were 7 of you in there by my count. And dead set lucky not to be more, really. It was a chaotic start. Thankfully, it cleaned up, mate. Was it something? I mean, you said there must have been something in the water, but was it the Okayama circuit? Because to be fair, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Oh, have a look at that. So you had someone riding over the top of you on lap 1, right? So we didn't actually catch all of that. We didn't see that initially, whoever that was that flew over the top of you. but a nice recovery all the same. And you got your wave around with a safety car. You use that to your advantage. All that sort of stuff worked in your favour. But talk to me. Do you actually like the Okayama circuit? Because it can be a bit hit miss. It's a tight little circuit. Overtaking opportunities aren't necessarily freely available. It was always going to be a challenge for the Indycar component. The Formula Fords, they're a little bit lighter, a little bit more nimble, a little bit smaller, so overtaking a little bit more, presentable. But here, is this a circuit that you actually like, or is it now one that you like because of how well you've gone tonight?
No, I think, to be honest, it's the open wheels. I've always clicked with open wheels, and I haven't been racing them as often as I probably should be. And I do like this track. I do seem to click with it pretty well, but to be honest, I genuinely think it's just open wheels. And with the IndyCar, it's a steep learning curve with all those, with the push to pass. I didn't even know that was even a feature in this car. Getting in tonight, and also getting my head around really quickly around the tyre choices and fuel stops and the strategy involved in that. But I had Scott Jawson in the chat with me. Sort of, we were trying to work out what we had to do, and tripped ourselves through the race. So but the open wheel cars I seem to be doing a lot better in lately, and so which means I probably need to put a little bit more time into it, and I'll probably even get better.
Indeed. And on that subject, how are the other Friday nights looking for you this season, mate? I mean, next week we're talking about Formula Ford. We're off to Laguna Seca. We stay on the West Coast. We stay in California. We go to Auto Club for IndyCar.
The Laguna will be a good run. As for the Oval, that'll be I don't know if I'll do it. I'll see how I go with that. That'll be another big steep learning curve for myself because I've never done any Oval. So I don't want to ruin anybody's race by being a numpty on the track, but I'll run. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than just left turn.
Yeah. He's very much from the and Aussie Racer stable entry teammates that are in here will understand where I'm going with this. He's very much got a Paul Wood sound about him at the moment, talking about because we know Woodsy's not a fan of ovals either.
Well, it's not that I'm not a fan of it. I just don't think I've given any time to it. And when you kind of try to spread yourself over so many races over a week, and being a stay-at-home dad and looking after the kids, it's a bit hard when they're all going to bed at this time.
Mates, very quickly, you mentioned it was a big day. The wife was in the march. We saw the photo that you put up on Facebook, which was very poignant for the day that it was. Just talk us through how everything was received in Sydney this morning, because my understanding was I didn't see the Sydney March because I was attending the Ipswich parade, but my understanding was that it rained before the dawn service, stopped for it, and then started sprinkling just as it was wrapping up, and then obviously the march followed. I can only imagine that it was a big turnout as always.
Yeah, it was a big day. A lot of people there, but first time I've ever done Sydney, and first time I've ever been there for the march.
Yes.
So I've only marched in Brisbane and Townsville, so this is a first for me, and first for my wife as well in the Navy. So yeah, it was a big day for all, and I really enjoyed it. I did spit a little bit at the start when she first started marching, but after that it just sort of dried up.
And obviously a very special day for you guys. So from us to you and everybody connected to you with the forces, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, thank you very much for everything you've done for the country and continue to do for the country as well, mate. It is not lost on us that the small little things that we take for granted, like turning up here on a Friday night to go sim racing, because of the sacrifices that are made by people that continue to serve the country, people that have served the country, people that are no longer with us, that have represented the country in the form of defence work. So it is greatly appreciated, mate. Well done to you, not just on the march and everything else that this day is about this morning, and the remembrance and the commemoration, but also on the racing tonight, mate, because you've done yourself proud. That was a very nice performance in Formula Ford. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you notch up a W there later in the season, and looking forward to seeing you get a clean run in IndyCar as well at some point.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for the racing. Thanks for the commentating and looking after us with the races. And lest we forget.
Couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, that was the 3 words that I used to end the broadcast last night, and I will do so again tonight as well. Jeff, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
We could sit and talk and reflect and commemorate all night long, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't want to hold Jeff up too much longer. He's been up all day. Let's go to Angus Cook now, because he was first cab off the rank, arriving in the booth this evening, but behind Nick Fodiatis. Cookie, nice to see you. We know you love your Indy cars. We know it's part of your bread and butter, mate. Great to see you back out there, and a solid result as well. Well done.
Yeah, can't complain. Happy with P5. Probably couldn't do much more. I think, as you said earlier, after the race finish, you know, we've got a pretty good lineup here. The strength of field, I think, was over 3,000. So I reckon, let's go back 3-4 years. And, 3 or 4 years, it's probably a race I win potentially. But with the the field here that we've got now, I've got to work for it. That's for sure. And Flash Graphics, Delara IndyCar was looking good out there.
Indeed it is. Now, on the subject, obviously something about tonight that would suggest that qualifying didn't necessarily play a huge part in defining the narrative. You look at Formula One, you go to a circuit like Monaco, wherever you qualify, if you don't put a foot wrong, is where you finish. Couldn't say anything along the same lines with regards to IndyCar, mate, because all the top 10 just about made their way forward in significant numbers, including yourself in double digits.
Yeah, it's it. Well, qualifying on the blacks just lends itself to the strategy. So luckily I had Jackson and Josh in there who understood what was going on and could let me know what to do. It's good now. Again, going back 3-4 years in the heyday of GSRC IndyCar, you could say we didn't really have the controls that we do now. You know, forcing people to start on the tyres, the force compounds, those kinds of things. So having all those things now, it does feel like a genuine race out there, and there is genuine strategy to it. The safety car probably came at the perfect time, though, because pretty much we all pitted, and it was you could go to the very end. I fuel saved in the first half on the Reds there, and then they just didn't switch on fast enough for me, so I couldn't catch P4 at the time. But found myself in a nice little spot and was able to make it to the end there. So yeah, it was a really good run. But as you say, I think it's great having all the passing and everything, and there was enough carnage at turn 1 with all the people on Reds that they didn't really come into play.
Well, that's exactly right. And strategy was pretty much down the line as well tonight, Cookie, because of where the safety car fell. It became if you did your homework, you did your maths correctly, it was a 3-stopper.
Yeah, that's it. And as I said, I tried to fuel save pretty early. I know that Cameron Dant, he had an extra lap on us all pretty early on, and I was just kind of sitting in, fuel map 2 and 3 behind in a draft, not trying to do too much too early. And then I had Nick behind me at the restart, and, he kind of pushed me through and made a move and tried to really progress there. And as I said, just sat in fuel map 2 pretty much till that last stint and filled up the tank without worrying about a number, because it was going to be pretty close anyways. And fuel map 1 to the end and use up all the push to pass and just have a blast. Bit different of those ovals though. Keen to hopefully get to some of them, because although these are fun on a road course, I think the ovals are where it's at.
Will we see you on the grid at the Auto Club Speedway next week, please?
Oh, I don't know. Like at the moment, everything's week to week and day to day. Like today, it's like, oh, well, it's good. It's a public holiday. Let's see what's happening this evening. Nothing's going on. Great, let's hop on the sim. So next Friday, the calendar's currently free, and I did hear it was at Auto Club, so there is definitely potential. Although, could also come down to...
And it sounds like there's definite interest on your part as well.
Yeah, that's it. Do I own the track? That's probably always a question too. I reckon I do. We've been to Auto Club enough over the years, but I think being here at Okayama was really good. It's a track that I think I enjoy because it's free and we race it a lot because of the fact everyone has it. So it was really good to race in these cars. It was a good mix of high speed, technicality, and all of that. But you know, if we could go back to the Milwaukee Mile every week, I remember there was a great race there that we had back in the day, and you know, I won that one quite comfortably. So if we go there every week and have a championship of 10 rounds, I'd be willing to put my money on me.
So essentially, Cookie is asking for preferential treatment by way of being a former committee member and president of the club, and trying to sway some sort of favouritism in his direction with regards to the makeup of the calendar. You can have that conversation with Nick Fodiatis, and please let me know how it goes for you. Now, as you say, it's a day-to-day, week-to-week sort of proposition, but great to see you out there tonight, mate. The one thing I will ask, I wasn't sure what to expect, I must admit. I thought the Formula Fords would be good. I didn't expect Indycar to be that good, because it doesn't strike me as the easiest track to go racing on, but it came down to the commitment of the drivers with their racecraft tonight, because some parts of the circuit require a fair bit of, you know, muscle and grunt and aggression in order to execute overtaking opportunities, and more to the point, to do so cleanly.
Yeah, definitely. And as my teammate Jackson was saying, as I hopped on for practice, it's really just your right foot and managing that through the last sector. It wasn't quick going in second gear. You need to use first gear, so you need to modulate the accelerator through here. And you know, in this first stint, you can see here Cameron just sat behind me saving fuel rather than trying to make any drastic moves, and it worked out for him at the time because he jumped the field on fuel, right? You don't need to make those big moves straight away. You can bide your time, save some fuel, save some energy as well, because it's quite a, you know, intense circuit. And, you know, sit behind someone. You don't have to be making moves the whole time. I think you've got to, you know, find the right time to be able to do that. So it definitely lends itself well. I didn't catch the Formula Ford just because I was practicing, but by all reports, you know, and it was on the short track, so you don't have much room and much time to be able to make a move.
No, that is very, very true. The thing I will ask you with regards to you just mentioned your teammate Jackson Rayhana, a bit of a challenging night for him in the end.
Yeah, it was. He got kind of trapped early with some damage, and then so in that first stint there he kind of was hindered, and then that didn't help the tyre wear, which in turn doesn't help the overall strategy of the race, only having the two tyres. So again, I was lucky that I had clean air. I, you know, had Nick behind me who...
But that means that all the road courses have got to go well.
Yeah, we'll see how Auto Club goes, whether they're automatic drop rounds. I think I'll be all right. Just got to turn left, right, keep the foot flat. But look, it's fun. That's why I like IndyCar. It's probably the only open wheeler I really drive. I just dabble in Super formulas when I'm free. But yeah, the ovals are part of the excitement of IndyCar, and we'll no doubt it'll be chaotic next week. A couple of cautions to break it up, but hey, it'll be fun. And you know, ultimately that's what GSRC is, a bit of fun. So yeah.
And when do we next see you on the platforms of the GSRC? Is it Super Formula Light next week, or is there something before that you'll be dipping the toe in the waterfall?
I'll check the track on Super Formula, see if I want to have a go. Otherwise, probably next week at Auto Club in IndyCar. Actually, no, you might see me in GT3s on Monday.
Actually, that's a good point, because we know that there's a big vibe on GT3 racing at the moment, and endurance racing especially, mate. And your stable is well versed in the craft. Just talk us through how much you're enjoying working with the guys at the Orbit Drop Bear stable, then being over here with us on the platforms of the GSRC, and then the differences for you between racing as an individual, even though occasionally that requires racing toe-to-toe with your teammates, and then going into those scenarios where you don't have total control because it is co-driver races and you're teaming up and you're trying to join forces for the greater good, so to speak.
Well, like my main car is a GTP, right? So I'm fairly well versed in the endurance and the sharing side of things. Like I just dabble in all these other things. I'm kind of just a GTP merchant who occasionally drives other things. Look, we all play nice. We all sort of, it helps that our car stands out now, so we sort of know who's who in the zoo. I'll have Denchi and Harry to work with on the GT3 for Monday. I'll probably rock up in the vet again, and just why not? But ultimately, like I do the GSRC stuff just for a bit of a break, bit of fun, and drive around with the boys. So.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Hey, great to catch up with you. Well done. The Okayama circuit, as good a result as Sandown for you. In fact, better, because you've gone one better, but at least you're at the forefront of the field. podiums mean consistency. Consistency is key to championship success. 2 very good results to start the season, mate. Hopefully you can build on that at Auto Club next week. You'll need to buy a little bit of luck because we know that Slipstream is going to play a huge part there. It'll be the IndyCar equivalent of a NASCAR restrictor plate race like Talladega on Monday morning, but we're looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the rest of the season. Hopefully see you have a dabble in GT3 at the Glen on Monday night as well. Go well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Marcus Watson, been a pretty good week for you, let's be perfectly honest. But that one, you set yourself up, you put yourself in the box seat. Unfortunately, in the end, our race winner there, Sam Sutton, just getting the better of you in the end. But second is good in a field as stacked as that, and it bodes well as far as the title aspirations are concerned, mate. Your thoughts on the night?
No, of course I was very happy with second place, but I definitely could have got the win tonight, and I definitely had it in me. My strategy went out the window from the first stint, having to pit, well, not having to pit, but I decided to pit 2 laps early because I broke my wing on the first or second lap, and I thought I'd just push it out and then change onto the soft tire and fix my wing, but in the pit stop my wing didn't fix, so there wasn't any visible damage I could see after the race, but I had noticeable understeer throughout the whole race, so that was quite annoying. And then pitting 2 laps early messed up my whole fuel strategy, so on the strategy side of things it definitely didn't go to plan, but I'm very happy to come home with the second place still.
Indeed. And you mentioned the wing issue, mate. Obviously not ideal. To be honest, we didn't really know. That's how well you've managed to perform even with that slight compromisation. But in saying that, how much did that play a role or impact the way you had to play the rest of the race from a strategic standpoint?
I mean, the main thing for a strategic standpoint was that I had 2 laps less of fuel than everyone, and come the last stint I put in max fuel and my fuel calculator was telling me to, but then I still needed an extra lap of fuel. So then that whole last stint I couldn't afford to hold off Sam because I just had to fuel save every single corner, and I just made it. I was coughing across the line at the end. So I mean, I feel if I had had that fuel up my sleeve, I might have been able to hold off Sam tonight, but he was extremely fast, and congrats to him on the win, and I think it'll be a good fight for the rest of the season.
And at the end of the day, you are here to win. We know that. We're talking to your dad about that, and you last night as well. And to be fair, you. How do I put this? Because I'm just hitting the wall at the moment, folks. I do apologise. At the end of the day, whatever you earn here, whatever you achieve here, mate, it's very clear. And it might not always be Sam, but there's any number of challenges lining up to have a crack. You're working hard for your efforts, aren't you? For your achievements.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, every week I'm making sure I put in the practice now, so I'm up the front. I mean, I want to represent myself well, and now joining a team for the first time in my sim racing career, I want to represent them well as well. So making sure I'm fighting for wins every single race, it's what I need to do, and it's what I feel like I need to do for my team and for myself as well.
Talk to us about Daniel McCrowan, because that was a new name to me tonight, but he's in your stable. I mean, we're familiar with the Ryder trio, we're familiar with you, but that was a new name. Good to see that Team Max Boost, the numbers that are lining up here on the platforms of the GSRC are only going north.
Yeah, Daniel's a phenomenal driver. I don't think he races as much as, I mean, the likes of myself, but he's an awesome driver. He's always helping me practice for these tracks each week. I mean, especially with the Super Formula Light. And I mean, all the guys, all the riders, Daniel, OC, Seb, they're all an amazing group of people, and being a part of the Max Boost team recently has definitely stepped me up as a driver and just helped with my racing and everything overall.
Indeed, and it's not just Super Formula Light. It's occasionally we're seeing you line up on the GT3 grid, mate. Now IndyCar as well. I mean, there's nothing you're not willing to jump behind the wheel of and have a crack, which says a lot about the ambition and the aspirations that you have. But how do you find it jumping from car to car? Is it a challenge for you, or is it something that it's a natural instinct thing?
It is more of a natural instinct. I've tried to not jump between as many cars recently because when I do these races, I want to actually prepare for them and do well in them, not just jump in on the night and just see how I go. So I try to not race everything. I mean, old me would literally race every single night at both races. But at the moment, I'm trying to stick to the open wheels. I mean, I've been performing quite well in the Super Formula Light and only been racing it for a few months now. So I wanted to stick to that. And after the first round at Sandown, I really enjoyed the Indycar. So I thought I'd stick to this as well. So jumping between the two, it's not too difficult. And then again, we're just on the sim. So really, I'm in the same seating position, same everything. So it's quite easy to adapt.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. What's on the agenda for you over the course of the weekend, and of course, where are we going to see you lining up next week? We know it'll be Super Formula Light because you want that championship. It eluded you last season, even though you had more wins than anybody else in the field. And I suspect that you're going to make a proper crack for the IndyCar title as well. But where else are you going to line up?
Yeah, of course, for the Gentleman's Sim, I'll be doing the Super Formula Light Championship and the IndyCar Championship. But I've decided for this season I wanted to compete in the SRW Super Formula Light Championship as well. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday night. Their championship starts next week or this coming up week. So hopefully win that. But forever representing the Gentleman's Sim, doesn't matter what I do. But hopefully I can put the Gentleman's Sim car up the front of their series too.
Exactly. And I just want to have that statement from Marcus there clipped for replay purposes later on in the term, because we are hoping that you'll fly the flag for us and go out in pursuit of an elusive second Australian Open World Nationals against the SRW boys at the end of term 2, mate. Again, we've only had individual winners, but they've all been from our club and they've all been different at the blokes that have won the corresponding terms championship. It's amazing how that just lines up. You, of course, it was only appropriate given your winning record throughout the course of the term that you were the one that took the checkered flag at Phillip Island. Well done again on that. Well done on the result tonight. Great start to the championship in IndyCar. We'll have some updated championship points in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, once Adam's done crunching the numbers here, that will reflect that I think Marcus is going to hold on to the championship lead for the time being, but by a slender margin. Have a great weekend, mate. We'll see you next Thursday night. Go well.
Yeah, thanks for the broadcast, guys, and thanks to all the drivers for the good race, and thanks to Team Max Boost.
There he is, the great Marcus Watson. Well played. I mean, you might say that I'm jumping the gun with the use of the word great, but look at what the bloke's achieved down the bottom of your screen there, and obviously that's just within the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, so he is in fine form at the moment. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of fine form, Sam Chapman's muted himself. I can't even speak to Chapo at the moment because the headphones are deafened, so he can't hear any of the chatter that's going on here in Central Commentary. We'll get to him shortly. But Dylan Shepherd, this isn't a Porsche.
Yeah, I thought we'd jump in and try something else.
And nice to have you here, mate. Let's be perfectly honest, right? We're not going to knock you back and say don't turn up. It was just, it threw me. I was like, hang on, this isn't a tin top. This isn't a Porsche. What's he doing here? Great to see you expanding the horizons, though, mate. And for what it's worth, a solid effort. I mean, the Formula Fords went well, and then you backed it up with an okay result in the IndyCar, too.
Yeah, 100%. I think most of all, I had a really, really fun night of racing, especially in that IndyCar race. Yeah, trying to convince my old man to come and do GSRC. I think he's finally signed up, but he's still a bit scared to jump in. But he's been watching a lot of the races from his sim in the sessions, so I'm trying to get him to jump in. I was hoping he'd race the Formula 4 tonight, but he just ended up watching it again. So, yeah, it was really good fun. IndyCar was a lot of fun, and yeah, like throughout the whole week. I think we did TCR, got a feature race winning that on the Wednesday night, I think that was. Yeah, good fun on the Porsche Cup on Thursday night. Unfortunately, missed GT3 Monday night because I was still coming back from the Bathurst 6 hour, so probably could have had a long week at GSRC, but no, it was really good Friday night to round out a good week here.
The Titanic CR race was Tuesday night, and I just want to point out on that note too, ladies and gentlemen, the only way that an Australian driver is going to notch up a win in TCR until the end of June at this stage is in the virtual world, on the back of their announcement they're not going to Perth this week, and I think it'll be par for the course beyond 25. That's the virtual way is going to be the only way to go racing, unfortunately, in that category. And I say that as a fan of the category, what they've brought to the table. Especially 2019, I felt so sorry for the Australian Racing Group when COVID sucked the wind out of the sails. They had all the momentum. They had all the energy. It was all going in the right direction. It was all looking fantastic and rosy and dandy and all those beautiful things. And then COVID just sucked the wind right out of the sails, and they never really got off life support beyond that. And it's very sad to see the slow demise that it's suffering at the moment. But that being said, I've got one eye on Ryan Casher, who's moved from TCR to the Porsche ranks as well, Dylan. So I've got to move my allegiance with that and go and have a look at some more Porsche racing, which is not a bad thing because they put on a great show in the Michelin Sprint Challenge. There's none about that, as they do Porsche Carrera Cup as well. We'll ask you about that at another point in time, because I know the next round is not too far away now. Obviously, for the Michelin Sprint Challenge, it is next weekend. So let me ask you this: does that mean that you'll be at Sydney Motorsport Park next weekend and not gracing us with your presence?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will be in Sydney. Yeah, but look, I'm looking forward to it. We had two cars at Phillip Island, one Pro-Am. We saw the return of Damien Flack after 10 years since his big crash.
I know. Yes.
So he jumped in for a bit of fun, and he did really well. I think he ended up on the podium overall for the weekend. Young Jake Santa Lucia, should have won race one, but spun himself out, and then came back through there, came back in race 2 to second, and then race 3 drove away with like an over 10-second lead or something after the end of the race. So really good form for us, or for Jake. So yeah, really looking forward to see what he can do at Sydney.
Indeed, and you'll be able to watch all the action across Saturday and Sunday on 7 Plus and 7 Mate, depending upon where you're tuning in, whether the 7 Mate coverage airs or not, because Queensland didn't see the terrestrial component, only the internet app version of the Phillip Island round. But yes, new life being breathed into the Shannon Speed series. They said they were going to ditch the name, and then yet they retained it. So unlike the Neighbours revival, it looks like the Shannon Speed series one's going to go okay. Now, Dylan, obviously real world commitment's going to hamstring when you can jump into the open wheelers, but how much enjoyment do you get out of giving yourself a new challenge like this, mate, because they are very different disciplines, open wheelers to tin tops, and even more so when you take something like a beautiful Formula Ford and then jump in the wheel of a beast of an Indycar, a unique challenge.
Yeah, 100%. It was just so much fun. I can't get over how much fun I had tonight. I rocked up into Formula Ford running an old Ange Mazura Sonic livery, so that felt pretty cool to run. So, and put it on pole and get a race win in it. I sent him a photo of it after getting pole, and I was like, "Oh, look, here you go." And he's like, "Yep, mate, that's where it should be. That's where it was." So he was happy to see that, and it was cool to get a race win. And then I thought, I'll try IndyCar. Look at how many laps there was. I was like, geez, this is a long race, but we'll give it a crack and see where you end up. And then, hearing, this, you have to do this tyre, you have to change compound, looking at the fuel numbers, like a 3 pit stop race. Like, this is a very strategic race, and there's a safety car. Like, I'm like, this has got all the ingredients to just be unreal. And it was, like, the whole race, I was just driving so hard to, match the talents of Marcus and Sam and Daiso as well. Unfortunately, he got, I think, taken out maybe by the lap car. That was unfortunate. The spinning lap car, unfortunately, just flicked back in his direction. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah, overall, really fun night. Like, I was pretty close to the lead pack. I think in the last pit stop, I lit the rears up all the way from my pit box to the pit exit cones, and then when I took the limiter off, it lit up again, and then went around turn 1, and the rears are still hot, so it's lit up again. So I lost a few seconds and tried my hardest to catch it towards that last stint. But yeah, when you've got Sam Sutton and Marcus Watson and Daiso in front of you, it's not an easy task at all. So lucky to get third. I think fourth was really where I was at, but enjoyment factor was a win, I think. So yeah, I think if this is what Friday nights are, I think this is what I might come back for a bit more, I reckon.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It's fast becoming a very hot ticket on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and I know we mentioned across the course of the week that Monday nights are a hot ticket item because GT3 has been a staple of the club since the first year, and Thursday night has become must watch because of the show that the Porsche cohort and the Spreyton side of Super Formula Light cohort are putting on. But Indycar could well be heading in that direction after what we saw this evening, no doubt about that. So, obviously Sydney next weekend, but does that mean that we'll still get to see you on the grid in GT3 on Monday night, please?
Yep, I'll try and be there for sure. Yep, 100%. I love the GT3. I love every night here at GSRC. Like, what's the? I think I try and explain that to people when other guys coming into OPR or outside of the sim that getting into it. I'm like, just because it's called gentleman sim racing, it's not like it's gentlemanly, but I'm like, once you're in that top,
absolutely,
10, top 20, I'm like, it's that hard, mate. I'm like, I struggle. Like, I can't win everything, and the guys that we're racing are world class. The likes of everyone you see on the grid, and then you see people. There's a lot of people I see come through this this league. Sorry, where you see them early on and around the 20th, 30th mark, and then all of a sudden they're in the 10, and then in the top 5, then they're winning, and then they're outside of GSRC winning big events outside. So it's just an awesome place to come back to and see the talent develop from everyone. So yeah, try and get back here as much as possible, I think.
And we love it every time you rock up on the grid, mate. As I said, it threw me a little bit tonight because it wasn't Thursday and it wasn't a GT car, but at the same time, great to see that you can slice and dice between the two and still be competitive in the open wheelers, mate. Very nicely done. Good luck for what's ahead over the course of the weekend. I know you guys in the workshop will be busy with the preparations for Sydney. We look forward to following that up on Monday night, of course, and hopefully when the schedule allows it. I know there's a busy couple of weeks coming up with real-world motorsport stuff, but obviously when the schedule allows you to be here on a Friday night, we look forward to seeing what you bring to the table, mate. Maybe add your name to the IndyCar winners list as well at some point.
Yep, 100%. Always a pleasure to be here, and yeah, thanks for all the team behind everything, behind the series, behind broadcast, everyone. So thanks all, and enjoy your weekend.
Very nicely done. There he is, Dylan Shepherd. I promise you we're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Chapman, Scott Jordison, and Adam Lavis are here. We've whittled it down to the committee level at this point. And typical Chapo, as soon as I go to have a chat to him, he mutes himself. Jesus. Thanks, Chapo. We'll come back to you in a moment. Adam Lavis is crunching championship points and numbers and other things for us at the moment. As soon as he's ready with them, he'll give us the heads up and we'll go and have a look. Nothing from Formula Ford just yet because he's still crunching the numbers for IndyCar, which when there's 42 in the field could take a while. Scott Jordison, how'd you find it out there, please?
Just checking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Loud and clear. And just as we start talking to you, Chapo finally unmutes himself. I'll get to him in a moment. Hello, Chapo. Go for it, Scott.
Sorry, I was just qualifying for an IMSA race, so bear with me.
Oh, no.
Well, go to Chapo. Go to Chapo. Sounds like he's about to start a race.
Yeah. 12. So just going around the grounds, right? Melbourne 24-16 winners over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. That was Friday night football in the NRL. The Knights getting defeated by the Warriors earlier in the evening. The Roosters demolished the Dragons in the Anzac Day clash. Fremantle have accounted for Adelaide in the AFL 85-67. 12-13 played 9-13. And in the Super Rugby tonight, well done to the Queensland Reds, accounting for the Auckland Blues 35-21. To you, Sam Chapman. Now, how'd you find all of that, please? Because it looked like a very hectic night behind the wheel. I mean, 42 cars on a less than 4 kilometre racetrack is always going to bring about some sort of congestion and traffic problem. But you did the double. We saw you out there in the Formula Ford as well. Just talk us through your night, please.
Yeah, it was funny listening to Marcus talk about how he wanted to go out and represent the team well, and make sure he's not just jumping in races, because that's exactly what I do on a Friday night. So yeah, it was out there for a bit of fun. I wasn't even going to do the Indycar, and then went, it's 10 minutes left. Yeah, all right, let's go out there. So we did the Quali laps, and that was the practice. But yeah, good fun. I love the Indycar. It's such a great car to drive, and with such a massive field. I mean, it's carnage, but yeah, good fun. So probably did about as where we thought we would. There was bits and pieces, dying under safety car, all that sort of thing, but that's the way these things go. And I think the competition caution plays a good part in at least bringing that together and giving people a chance to get back and back in the race.
Indeed. What was the thought process going into the night? I mean, Okayama, did you ever envisage that many cars being on the racetrack? Formula Ford, I mean, there's always a good turn up for Formula Ford. There was last week, but 42 Indy cars, I reckon that's a record for the GSRC.
It's up there, but the Indy cars do seem to get quite a good field. I remember when they were out there last time, we got quite a good field as well. And that's why I was the voice that said we should keep them earlier, because I just think they're
correct.
They bring out a great crowd. You can throw in an oval every now and then as well to mix it up. It seems that people are enjoying them. I mean, they don't enjoy dying, but that's what the fast repairs are for. So they're a great car, and then obviously the Formula Fords are a bit of fun as well. It's that they having the double on the Friday is nice. It keeps me off the streets. It's
been a long while since we've done a double on a Friday night. You know that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And not only the double, but a broadcast as well. So thank you, fellas, for doing that. So yeah, no, it's a good thing to have on a Friday night. As I said, I probably won't be doing the full season, and I am just sort of jumping in here and there. But it's a fun thing to be able to jump into.
Indeed. Now, any aspirations to emulate, when you are here in Formula Ford, emulate the success that we've seen you have occasionally in Formula V?
I mean, I had success in Formula Ford in the intro Formula categories, obviously, but probably have to do a couple more laps than what I've been doing, to be honest. But if I do, then we'll see how we track. But once again, it goes back to there's a serious amount of talent on the grid at the moment, both in IndyCar and Formula Ford.
How lucky we are, eh?
Absolutely, and it creates incredible racing with a diverse group. But you've got it's not 2 or 3 guys that are possible race winners at the front in either series. It's 10, 15. So that's great to see, and it keeps it interesting.
Indeed, it does. Now, you mentioned the winged approach to Friday night. What's the plan for Sam Chapman this weekend? And tell us about this IMSA race that you're currently qualifying for, please.
So Watkins Glen. So I'm just doing the rollout lap at the moment. So I'm trying to get a little bit of pracky in for Monday. I haven't done any laps yet.
No.
So that's all right. We're qualified in 9th. Apparently that's where are we? 3.7k. So we'll take that, and we'll see where it goes. So we'll do a bit of that. We've got the Aussie cars doing the 6 hour tomorrow. So I'll do that with Lewis in the BMW GT4, and then a bit of parties, bit of, as I said, handing out and volunteering. It's going to be a bit of a busy weekend, Zach.
It's going to be a very, very busy weekend. Are you back on the volunteering front next Saturday as well?
Yes, absolutely. Next Saturday will be the day.
You poor bloke.
I mean, swings and roundabouts. It ends in a party whether you win or lose. So we'll see what happens.
That's true. And you don't mind a party. We know that. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Thank you, mate. Hey, just quickly, if the opportunity presents itself to rock up here next Friday night, Laguna Seca for 40 minutes will be a long race for Formula Ford, but then Auto Club Speedway, we don't mind an oval race, especially when it's on a high speed one like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like Laguna Seca as well, so we'll see how we track. We'll see. If there's not too much going on, then I'll jump in, but otherwise it'll be hit and miss. And I would say don't expect me to see me at the front of the grid, at least at the start.
Can I interject there for a moment? Laguna Seca in the Formula Fords is freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Laguna Seca is an unreal track. I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm glad the IndyCar's not there. I think that the safety car ran out of fuel last time it was there, but yeah, Auto Club and Laguna Seca, that'll be fun.
Indeed, it will be. Hey, I'm going to let you go at this point in time, mate. Thank you. Go well with the pamphlet handing out over the course of the weekend, talking to the rank and file as they try and make their mind up on who the hell they're going to vote for to run the country for the next 3 years. Good luck either way. And we look forward to seeing you line up on Monday night, mate. Go well.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one.
Indeed. Scotty, you were going to say?
I vote GSRC to run the country. Surely we can get stuff done better than they can.
El Presidente for Prime Minister? I'd be all for that.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, that's exactly right. This is Joe's opportunity to jump in and rebut that too, by the way, but he hasn't said anything, so I'm going to say that he's on board with the idea. And then GSRC can do a broadcast deal to get on network television.
I've got 500 to look after. That's hard enough, let alone worrying about the country.
Yeah, 25 million. Yeah, I know, exactly. Very nicely done. Scott, very quickly, just tell us your thoughts on the night that was, please, before I wrap it up.
First, I just want to say thank you to Ben W. Woods. Conditions, racetrack, and everything. Ben put his hand up and goes, "Yeah, I'll set that up." And I said, "Look, I'm happy to help, but I don't know what I'm doing." And we just nutted out a few tracks, and I was a little bit wary of this one. And it turned out bloody beautiful in the Formula Ford. Well done, Ben Woods. You nailed it, mate. And yeah, thank you.
No, well done to Woodsy indeed. I agree with that. The Formula Ford racing around here, I was a bit unsure whether we should have gone the short shoot or the long circuit, but the short shoot provided some great racing. So, no, well played, Benny Woods. I agree with you. Scott Jordanson. And then, of course, IndyCar, mate, unfortunately. You were running from behind for much of the night in 37th.
No break, arrive and drive.
Yeah. Started 37th, I think I'm right in saying. But in saying that, at least, unlike a few around you, you didn't give in.
I haven't driven those cars in ages, and they're one of those cars that, yes, you got to be precise and smooth and all of that, but at the same time, you got to be really fast in them to keep the aero engaged, because the moment you let the aero go, you get slower. So yeah, no practice, no nothing. It was fun. They're awesome cars, but yeah, you got to practice for them to get fast.
Indeed. How does the weekend look, mate? And will we see you on the grid on Monday night, please?
No. You went. Well, the weekend looks great. First soccer match.
Long weekends always do.
Well, hang
on. Is Coach Jordanson in action this weekend, is he?
Yes, first round.
Here we go.
I'm actually in the process of going through organising players and stuff like that on my phone while listening to you. I'm not a fan of the GT3s, I have to say. Too hard to overtake. But I love the HPDs. Awesome. Love the Formula Fords. And I've forgotten how much I love the Indy cars. And also, just to throw that in, Porsche Cup and Super Formulas. Awesome.
Dear, brilliant stuff. Good luck. We'll let you go get back to doing the wheeling and dealing that is required for Coach Jordison to be ready to rock and roll and fire on all cylinders tomorrow at the soccer field. Go well with that, mate. We look forward to checking in with you and getting a result sheet, a scorecard on Monday night, please.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I want to report on that one, but anyway, thanks, Zach.
Look, we've got to take an invested interest in the outside, ventures of our club members. I mean, we're following what some of our racers do in their sim racing exploits beyond the GSRC, of course. We know that Marcus is off to fight with the SRW boys in their Super Formula Light Championship. We follow what some of our guys like Chris Whitaker do in real world motorsport, Trent Lavis as well. So, it'd be remiss of us not to include soccer coaching in that. It'll be a nice change of pace for us to talk about a sport that isn't motorsport, even though that might, be protested by Joe Baldwin, because when we've spoken about other sports before, he turns a blind eye to it. But what's that sport he says? Yeah, exactly. There, listen to the yawns in the background. But he's also yawning because he was up at the dawn. because he was up at the dawn service in Perth. He's also yawning because he's very tired, and I don't blame him. I'm tired. It's been a huge day. Adam Lavis, if you're there, quick comment from you. Interesting racing in both Formula Ford and Indycar, and not a bad run. You got to follow your mate Nick Fodiatis home.
Yeah, like Nick definitely had a bit more pace now. Like he's been practicing, obviously, IndyCar, his bread and butter. I sort of just jumped in and did some laps after the Formula Ford and slowly built my speed up. But yeah, so he was, I let him go a bit early on, and he sort of pulled away, but then seemed like he made a mistake or had a bit of a interesting battle with somebody and bring him back to us. And then he had another incident with one of the guys trying to fight through the field and got back past. And yeah, we've finished the back half of the top 10 from where back we started. So I kind of thought we started further back than we did because I misread me position after that first crash. I thought it said 37. Like, how am I 37? But I was actually like must be 17th or something. So I just misread that. But yeah, it's been a pretty good night. Not too bad compared to last night. Couldn't have been any like. There's no way it could have been worse than last night. So definitely improved.
Yes. On that note, I won't ask you about last night. But in saying, actually, you've just reminded me, we didn't give the updated Porsche Cup standings from last night, so we'll do that on the way out. I know you're still working away at the Formula Ford results as well, mate. I'm assuming that Indycar will be ready to go in just a few moments. But in saying that, Okayama was always going to be an interesting one. Again, it can throw up some good racing. It can throw up some stinkers as well. We have a few tracks like that. But no complaints from us with regards to the quality of that spectacle tonight. There was everything you could ever ask for in a motor race. Good overtaking, good race, in-race battles, good strategy play, some good crashes for the highlight reel as well.
Yeah, I only saw a couple of the crashes. There was...
thankfully you weren't involved in any of them tonight.
Yeah, the next one was a bit tight to squeeze through there. There wasn't much room on the inside.
Yeah,
I was a bit worried that the old mate was going to reverse and Nick was going to go forward, but I managed to get through. But yeah, there was more. Yeah, there was a little bit of an incident with Dougie Gowans in the Formula Fords. I sent him a bit of an apology. Single screen, he made it tough by going mid track, and that's fair enough. And then, just a single screen deception. I thought he moved a little bit in the braking zone, so I moved a little bit, and that got me tight. And we just made a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, and then he just slid out a little bit. So I apologise for that. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't too bad of a night. A couple of top 10s, so on and upwards for the rest of the season.
Indeed. All right. Very nicely done, mate. Great to catch up with you as per usual. And we look forward to obviously reconvening on Monday night. Just quickly, though, on the way out, one more comment that's got to do with the ovals, because we know that that's part of your bread and butter when it comes to IndyCar. We know that you'll be on song ready for a big show.
I wouldn't say it's my bread and butter. I just happen to be good at the strategic part of it. So
exactly,
the chess game just works in my favour. But yeah, it'll be another one. It is the interesting thing. Like as much as these road courses with all the caveats and rules and extracting there try and trip people up that we got to pay attention to and work your strategy out. So it is a strategy game in that sense. The Oval's a different type of strategy where it's a chess game of trying to make sure you've got yourself in the right position for the end. You've got to basically do the oval races backwards to make sure that you're going to be in the right spot at the end of the race to capitalise. So it should be interesting to see how it all falls tomorrow night. But the other thing with the ovals too is you can do all the preparation in the world and get your strategy perfectly right, but if you're on the wrong spot at the wrong time, that's game over. So it's a high risk, high reward type race. So you just got to be on your toes.
Indeed you do. Indeed you do. Thanks, mate, as always. Appreciate that. It is 11 minutes past 11. We've been here for nearly 4 hours, so we'll wrap it up at this point in time. Appreciate you three sticking around. Adam Laver, Sam Chapman and Scott Jordison. Joe Baldwin, some final thoughts from you on what has been a hell of a night in the booth.
Oh, God, can I smash my PC and fix the problems? I think I've actually been doing a little bit of looking around in the background. I think I'm a bit of a fix, but I said that the other night. Up the stream, I'll actually upload a clean version up to the YouTube channel. What the live broadcast was, but as far as the on-track action, look, I think the way the Formula Ford set up, like the service set up, absolute tip of the cap. That put on incredible racing, like. And I like the mix of rain. A lot of people, it's frustrating because everyone was so excited for the rain to come. And then once it came, everybody had a big cry. They were wetter than the racetrack under the ice. So but I love the idea of the rain. I think it throws a real strategic element into the driving, and it pulls from a different skill set when you drive in the rain. And you can see the guys that are good, like Art Baz just showed the way tonight. He was unlucky, I think, in both races in the Ford and in Indy as well, but he's a guy who's certainly got the pace. So if you're fast in all different conditions, and Chapo was the same as well. He was fast, just unlucky there. But it's that was great racing in the Formula Fords, and Indycar always puts it on. Probably way better racing than I was expecting. I was a little bit like, track too short, like sort of not big enough.
Yeah.
Like we said before,
not wide enough at some points.
Broadcast, they raced for here back in the day, and that was a reasonably good race. It just didn't meet FAI standards, main straight lengths and whatever, which is why they've never gone back, if anyone's wondering. But I think it actually put on a cracking race tonight. So yeah, it's been a great night in the booth, watching without all the buffering, which you'll all get to do at a later date, no doubt, tomorrow sometime or in the middle of the night when it does upload. So it'll certainly be one to go back and watch without all the buffering.
Plenty to wrap up in just a moment, but can we just say what a special day it's been. Great to see so many people braving, not ideal weather to go out and show their respect with commemorations for Anzac Day and the 110th anniversary of the landing in Gallipoli in 1915. At the start of the day and on the sport front, the Reds home in Super Rugby, the Warriors, Roosters and Storm winners in the NRL, the Collingwood Magpies too strong for the Essendon Bombers, and Fremantle too good for Adelaide in the AFL. Here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, 3 different winners from 3 races tonight, which was fantastic. And we have IndyCar Series Championship points to show you right now, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the updated standings after the second round. Marcus Watson, 121 place. Sam Sutton, 116. It's going to be that sort of season. Tyson brought at 86. Look at the buffer they've put between themselves and the rest already. Adam Lavis up to 4th, 83 points. 68 for Lachlan Olsen. 61 for Nick Fodiatis. 59 for Andrew Dyson. He was unlucky tonight. 53 for Jackson Dial. And then, of course, Dylan Shepherd up into the top 10 in 9th place on 48 points. And then 46 points for Eli Donaldson, and he flipped and flew at one point tonight and still managed to get to the checkered flag. It was that sort of crazy night, ladies and gentlemen, just extraordinary stuff. Well done to all and sundry there. Auto Club Speedway, California, the next stop for the IndyCar Series. We, of course, bring you all the action on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club with thanks to the great people at Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, Trophy AI, Orbic Australia, Bowen's the Builder's Choice, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics. And Joe beat me to it, but the schedule on your screen is what's coming your way across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Starting with, well, that's the IndyCar schedule. So Auto Club next week, gentlemen. There's a vote going on for where we're going to go. 2 tracks from 2 different country for round 4 and round 6. It escapes me what they are. I'm just going to scroll. Ladies and gentlemen, so round 4 and round 6. Round 4, it'll either be hot